1. Welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Tri-F Podcast, where we try not to mess the podcast up. How are you boys today?
I'm well. How are you?
I am fantastic.
Right.
No.
I'm good. I smell like coffee.
Yeah, and so does your computer.
Yeah, I spilled coffee on my computer right before we were going to go live.
It happens.
It's working. So if I crash out, sorry.
That's all right. We'll blame you entirely. So,
Are you crashing out? Are you crashing out because the lack of coffee, or because your computer has coffee on it?
Because there's roaches in the coffee.
There's roaches in the coffee?
Yeah, Cody knows all about it. That's how you get bugs in your gut.
I have no idea where this conversation is going. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. So, here's the thing. We're going to start out with a Bible reading, right? And then there is an update on Jordan Peterson, and his daughter, Michaela Peterson, thinks they finally know what is wrong, and she's saying it's SSRIs. And, of course, we've actually talked about that before on the show. And then that coincides with something that was announced by an unlikely partnership, that being Joe Rogan and old Trump. So we'll discuss that, you know. So, Sad Sands.
Sounds good.
Jess, which is Jess. Thank you, Jess. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jess.
And then after that, I wanted to read an article that caught my eye on Christianity.org. Titled Social Justice and Christianity. I thought this ought to be good. So, it was written by some kid. I don't want to rip her apart too bad, but it's probably going to be exactly what I think it's going to be. Huh?
Might be necessary.
It might be for our own good. We'll be doing a public service. So, and then we've got I guess they're going to be releasing the UFO Files again. So they brought that up again. I'm sure it has nothing to do with Iran or some random thing, you know?
Where did you
it's
run
nothing to do with the other stuff going on in the world at all, but we'll talk about it anyway. So, with that said, I think we should begin. Hold on a minute. Let me adjust my window again because I can never catch things at the right time. So we're going to be starting with Genesis 29. Last time we were on 28. And let's see. We had an interesting point last time with 28 about how the Cody, you weren't here for this, but the covenant had to be reaffirmed by God in Genesis 28. So it kind of called into question what exactly Isaac's role was when he gave the blessing. So it's like Isaac gave the blessing in 28, and then in 27, and then in 28, God actually is the one who reaffirms it. And so God gives him the call for the covenant and everything. So we talked about that last week. So now we're on 29, and this is when, So this is when Jacob, I think, finally gets to Laban. So I think that's where we're at now. Calix9398 says, "What I missed? Had to go water my plants, LOL." Well, we're about to start Genesis 29, good sir.
You didn't miss anything.
Yeah, unless you want to hear about Trevor's, I don't know, he said something random. I don't recall what it was.
I watered my computer with coffee.
Yeah, he watered his computer with coffee. So that was great. So
right before we hit live.
Yep, right before we hit live, because that's when it's going to happen. So, all right, who wants to start? Would you like me to start, or would somebody else like to read?
I will.
All right, go for it.
Then Jacob went on his journey and came into the land of the people of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field, and lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks, and the great stone was upon the well's mouth. And thither were all the flocks gathered, and they rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the sheep, and put the stone again upon the well's mouth in its place. Jacob said unto them, My brethren, whence be ye? And they said, Oh, Haran are we. And he said unto them, Know ye Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. And he said unto them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. And behold, Rachel his daughter cometh with the sheep. And he said, Lo, it is yet high day. Neither is it time. Sorry, it's kind of small.
That's right. Neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep and go and feed them. Yeah, I can take it up if it's too small.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. And Calix says, R.I.P. PC, Trevor. So when it dies, it fought the good fight.
Yeah. It fought the good fight.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. And then we're on verse 8. And they said, We cannot until all the flocks be gathered together, until they roll the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. And while he yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. And it came to pass when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. So we're kind of getting a full circle thing here. In the same way that Rebecca watered the hired hand's flock, camels, now Jacob is watering Rachel's flock, or Laban's flock. So, symmetry. So, yeah. All right.
Why wouldn't it say just Laban's uncle instead of mother's brother?
I don't know.
Maybe they
It's
just the word uncle when they wrote this.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. It just it's the way it was back then, I guess. So, all right.
Yeah, what do you do when your older brother's tickling you, and you can't say
uncle?
Uncle. You got to say mother's brother's nephew or whatever.
Sounds like a weird setup.
Way harder.
Mother's brother, stop tickling me.
It would just devolve into cussing about 2 words in, So, and Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. And it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. And Laban said unto Jacob, Because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be? And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. Oh, Trevor has bit the dust.
His computer just died.
R.I.P. Trevor's computer.
Just murdered itself.
What? What'd you say?
I said Trevor's computer just murdered itself.
Yeah, he's like, I'm done with this. This sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah, well, we'll see if we can get him back here in a few minutes.
Yeah, maybe he'll pop on with his cell phone or something.
Yeah.
Show must go on.
Show must go on. Yep, we'll press on. Let's see. And I've lost my place. Hang on here.
20.
20. Okay. And Jacob, okay. And Laban said, it's better that I give you. Jacob loved Rachel, and I will serve thee 7 years for the younger daughter. And Laban said, it is better that I give her to thee than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jess says, oh no. Yeah, I know. They're like, this is a problem. We're going to have to figure something out, but here in a minute. So, Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had to her. And Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place, and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zipporah his maid for a handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this thou hast done unto me? Did not I serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? And Laban said, it must not be so done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Hardy har har. Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve me yet 7 other years. And Jacob did so. He fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel's daughter. And Jacob did so and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also. And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah his handmaid to be her maid. And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served of him yet 7 other years. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bare...
Hey.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. And Rachel was barren, and Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben, for she said, surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, because the Lord hath heard I was hated, he hath therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, now this time will my husband be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore his name was called Levi. And she conceived again and bare a son. And she said, now I will praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah, and left bearing. So, that's 29. Laban is a scuzzball. And so Jacob kind of got his, I would say. But then you feel bad for Leah. So
yeah, it's all a big mess.
Yeah, it's like not the most functional setup of things.
Yeah,
so
people taking advantage of other people and stuff. Not good.
Yeah, Laban's he's a pretty bad character. But Jacob had it coming, so what are you gonna do?
It's just
trying to think of anything else to say. I don't really think so. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, pretty straightforward verse, man.
Yeah. All right.
Not a lot of.
Trevor would have something brilliant, profound to say.
Brilliant and profound. Those are the words you're gonna use.
Brilliant, that or a dad joke. So. All right, moving on to 30. Okay, here we go. Let's see. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, give me children, or else I die. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, am I in God's stead, who hath withheld from thee the fruit of the womb? And she said, behold, my maid Bilhah, go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her. And
that never works.
Yeah, it's gonna work out like a charm. So, and she gave him Bilhah her handmaid to wife, and Jacob went in unto her. And Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son. And Rachel said, God hath judged me, and hath also heard my voice. He hath given me a son, therefore called she his name Dan. And Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again, and bare Jacob a second son. And Rachel said, With great wrestling have I wrestled with my sister, and I have prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali. And Leah saw that she had left bearing. When Leah saw that she had left bearing, she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her Jacob to wife. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son. And Leah said, A troop cometh, and she called his name Gad. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a second son. And Leah said, Happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed. And she called his name Ashter. And Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest and found mandrake. So this is the start of another story. So, yeah, family values, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. All right, so now that's the verse where The Handmaid's Tale is based off of. Close.
Yeah. I didn't watch it.
It's not worth anyone's time. It's awful. It's everything you'd imagine from a scuzzy liberal thing. So anyway, verse 14. And Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest and found mandrakes in the field and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, Give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes. And she said,
What is a mandrake?
I think it's a type of fruit, but we can Google it. Hang on just a minute. I will Google that really quick.
I bet it's one of those little Harry Potter deals.
Harry Potter deals?
Yeah. Aren't they called mandrakes? They pull them out of the pot and they scream.
I have no idea. That's a good question. Let me type this in really quick.
Yeah, is that right? Mandrakes in Harry Potter, is that the little dudes in the pots you pull in? Yeah.
Okay. She's like, seriously?
That's probably what was in the Bible. You don't tell them.
Close. All right, so this is what I'm
right there
getting.
in the middle.
Yeah, this looks to be some kind of root. Yeah, mandrake root.
Like a tuber, like a potato or something.
Gotcha.
Man, they really it's been depicted as people a lot through history. It looks like
the mandrakes, they've been depicted as people.
I mean, look at all these pictures. They're all like
Yeah.
depicted as little bipedal creatures.
Yeah, you're right. They have. Huh. Well, now I'm gonna have to go try one at some point, I guess.
Why? Because you like to eat living things?
Mandrakes is people.
Well, it's still alive. What if it screams when you bite into it?
I'll get over it, I guess, with a little bit of therapy. Okay. Let's see. So we were on 14. I pray thee, give of thy sons mandrakes. Okay, so we've got Jess saying seriously. And then Turtle Chief going, yes, mandrake. Then Jess going, it was in Harry Potter, mandrake roots. Trevor, he's in the chat. Trevor, is your computer dead? What happened? Help us out here. Can you use your phone?
Send a smoke signal.
Send smoke signals, right. Okay, type it in the chat. Fill us in, man. Chat's in chat. Yeah, I know he's in the chat. Trevor, quit being cute. Give us an answer. We're all dying to know. Oh, my goodness. All right. While he's typing, I'm going to keep reading. All right. And she said unto her, it is a small matter that thou hast taken my husband. And she said unto her, is it a small matter that thou hast taken my husband? Okay. And wouldest thou take away my son's mandrakes also? And Rachel, boy, that is a bitter line. Good night.
Sure is.
Oh, you took my husband. Now you want my roots too?
Not giving you no potatoes. Get out of here.
That's bitter. Good night. Calix says, what I miss again? I had to do something, LOL. Well, Trevor's computer died. We were joking, but it really shut off. So the coffee
And we
killed
found
it.
out that there's they were eating little tiny mandrake people in the Bible.
It's a root that's shaped like a man. That's what we learned. So mandrakes is
Yeah.
people. So yes.
Mandrakes is people.
Turtle Chief is saying, and won't stay on. And he says, I can join from my phone. Yes, do that. You should just be able to use the exact same link I already emailed. So, yes, we will wait. We will wait on, what's the word? We're trembling with anticipation for your return, Mr. Trevor. So there we go. All right, so let's just reread that line again because I want to appreciate the bitterness. So let's see. And she said unto her, Is it a small matter that thou hast taken my husband, and wouldest thou take away my son's mandrakes also? I can't get over that. That's so petty. All right.
Pretty funny, dude.
Yeah. And Rachel said, Therefore he shall lie with thee tonight for thy son's mandrakes. Wow. And Jacob came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went out to meet him and said, Thou must come in unto me, for surely I have hired thee for my son's mandrakes. And he lay with her that night. Got sold for some mandrakes.
Wild.
Yeah.
It's like a wild story. Every one of these that we go through, dude, I'm just like, what?
Yeah, you never learned that in Sunday school.
Silly.
Did you ever hear these stories in Sunday school? I never did.
Not like this, man.
Yeah.
Not like this. They painted it with such a...
It's a little disingenuous, isn't it? Yeah.
Embellished brush, you know?
Whitewashed it. They whitewashed the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I'm like, this is a little more dark than they let on.
I still haven't gotten over the Isaac story, dude.
Which one?
Crazy. The Isaac. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hardest one, I would say, of all of them, is the sacrifice. Or the almost near sacrifice.
Yeah.
Why is no one mad at the dad? In which story? Are you talking about Isaac, or are you talking about Jacob? Or are you talking about Laban? That's a good question. I'm sure they were mad at Laban. But I don't know. That's a good question. Why aren't they mad at Laban? It was his fault. Maybe Leah didn't know. You know, something like that. Maybe she didn't realize Jacob didn't like her or something. Maybe Laban told her, you know, Jacob's working all these hours for you or something.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I will say he really exudes the turn the other cheek kind of principle. It's like, you know, he made a deal and then screwed him over, and he was like, okay, I guess I'll do it all again. 7 more years. I mean, that's pretty cool. But that's about the only positive side I can see.
Yeah. Sad Sans AZ says, 0807 says, I feel like he's just a pawn in the women's games, but since it's spicy time, he's not mad about it.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's probably
Isn't
right.
that the story again, though?
Yeah. And then she says Leo Ann. I don't know what that means. You mean Laban? I don't know what you're referring to. You have to elaborate. But yes, Jacob. Anyway, it's all kinds of functional. Joining. So Trevor is joining. Okay, so where are we at now? Still talking about, okay. And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived and bare Jacob the 5th son. All right. We have got to figure out a better way to do this, but that's all right. Hello, Trevor.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You got a lag, but we can hear you.
Well, I got to shut off.
There you go.
Live as well.
Gotcha. All right. So is your computer no more?
I don't know if it's no more, but it won't stay on.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That sucks. I'm not sure.
It's
Hopefully
fine.
it'll work. Hopefully it'll work just a little bit. I mean, if it's starting, then it can't be irrevocably destroyed.
Put it in some rice.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll try that.
There you go. Do the rice thing. All right.
I got like 5 pounds for a laptop, but
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. So we can get by with this for the night. Sad Sands. Jess says, I would be pissed if I got married and my husband woke up the next morning and said WTF. Yeah, I would imagine that would throw anybody for a loop, for sure.
Yeah, a little bit.
For sure. But you are right, Jess. Like there really should have been more ire thrown at Laban, I would think. He's kind of the dude who set it all up, but
yeah.
Anyway, all right. Let's see if I can figure out where we're at. It was the 5th son. I've completely
Is my camera on?
Your camera is on, but it is looking at orange juice or something. Some kind of food packaging. There we go.
There we go.
Boy, I've completely lost my... Okay, here we go. So now we're on to verse 18. And Leah said, God hath given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to my husband, and she called his name Issachar. All right. And Leah conceived again, and bare Jacob the 6th son. And Leah said, God hath endued me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons, and she called him Zebulun. And afterwards she bare a daughter, and called her name Dinah. And God remembered Rachel. And God hearkened to her, and opened her womb. And she conceived, and bare a son, and said, God hath taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, and said, The Lord shall add to me another son. And it came to pass, when Rachel had borne Joseph, that Jacob said unto Laban, Send me away, that I may go unto mine own place, and to my own country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, and let me go, for thou knowest my service which I have done thee. And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience that the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. And he said, Appoint me thy wages, and I will give it. And he said unto him, Thou knowest how I have served thee, and how thy cattle was with me. For it was little which thou hadst before I came, and it is now increased unto a multitude, and the Lord hath blessed thee since my coming. And now when shall I provide for mine own house also? And from now when shall I provide for mine own house also? And he said, What shall I give thee? And Jacob said, Thou shalt give me anything. If thou wilt do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep thy flock. And I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle, and all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and of such shall be my hire. And so shall my righteousness answer for me in time to come, when it shall come from my hire before thy face. Everyone that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and brown among the sheep, that shall be counted stolen with me. And Laban said, Behold, I would it might be according to thy word. So this is really tricky, because this is another one of those situations. I've heard sermons on this in the past, but it's been years. So Trevor, if you've heard a sermon on this, you might have to help me out with it. But this is another attempt of Laban, from what I remember. This is another attempt of Laban to mess with Jacob, screw him over. But somehow Jacob is able to, by breeding the speckled and striped animals or something like that, he's able to get really wealthy in spite of Laban's plan.
Yeah, sounds like he was testing.
Well, Laban's trying to, from what I understand, Laban's trying to mess with them again. Yeah. So, we might look up how this is supposed to go, because this King James is getting hard to follow.
I interpret it as an easy way to divide what's Jacob's and Laban's, because I mean they've been together for 20 years, so it's like all their cattle are intermingled, and so they're having to figure out how to split them
Yeah.
because some are Jacob, some are Laban's. I mean, it seems pretty simple.
Yeah, let me Google it. I'm going to see if I can figure out.
But there was probably more because that's like, so the spotted and speckled cows, those are like genetic deformities. So like, you have like the what do you call that? The calf prophecy, the
Oh,
Jewish
yeah,
prophecy.
the red heifer. I don't think this has
Yeah, the
anything to
red
do with the
heifer.
red heifer.
Right. No, but like, so in their eyes, like a pure animal is all a solid color, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So there was probably a lot more of the ones that weren't like that. I mean, there was probably a lot of pure blood back then because, it's way back then. But
I don't know.
they were higher quality stock. So he probably got a lot more cattle, by taking the genetic deformities. But,
Yeah.
but Laban was into it because they were a better breed.
I think I understand what you're saying. Let's look at the AI here really quick because I do want to understand this, and then we'll look at this article by Answers in Genesis and see if we can get a clearer. Maybe we'll look at Got Questions too, get a clearer understanding of it. Because the King James, I consider myself pretty good at reading the King James, and even I was getting lost. So let's see if we can clear this up a little bit. In Genesis 30, Jacob agrees to work for his uncle Laban in exchange for only the speckled, spotted, and striped sheep and goats. Laban immediately cheats by removing all such animals, leaving only solid-colored livestock. Jacob uses a selective breeding technique, setting striped branches at watering troughs, which results in healthier spotted offspring, making him wealthy despite Laban's deception. Okay, so
All right. Well,
Laban,
that's deeper than what I thought. I don't understand.
yeah, well, apparently Laban like snuck all the animals that were like that out. So Jacob asks for the spotted. This is saying Jacob asked for the spotted and striped sheep and goats, and then Laban removes them and only leaves like the solid animals. So Jacob, presumably this is a miracle of some kind. Jacob uses a selective breeding technique by setting striped branches at watering troughs. So I think this is supposed to be a miracle then.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to have to read this story.
A striped branch.
Yeah, I don't know what a striped branch is. So, all right. Jess says, it's another trick, like with Leah and Rachel. This time he got the better of Laban. Yeah. Well, let's look at what Answers in Genesis has to say.
There's so many layers of deception with these people.
Yeah, Laban's one of the more interesting characters. Hang on, I gotta fix my box. My box is being stupid again because we're going to different websites. So hang on. You two talk amongst yourselves while I fix this box, and we'll read the article. Entertain the people.
I wonder if Jacob knew like all the plants and how they worked since he cooked with his mom all the time.
It's as good a theory as any.
Because I mean, if he cooked with all the plants and he knew how each one of them worked, then he would know which ones would give the sheep spots.
Really? Like, I mean, you think it was that like simple? Like, that would be wild.
Well, I mean, like,
Just like their genetic makeup is so pure that like the things they eat literally appear on their body. That would be nuts.
like if he only fed them a certain
Yeah.
flour.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like if we tried that today, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, because I think it's a miracle. That's where I'm going with it.
Well, it's like if you drink dandelion tea, it's supposed to have a really good effect on your system. Well,
Well,
you have
unless
to
the
pick.
spotted branches are poison ivy, then that would make sense.
Yeah.
All right, well
Something to do with.
let's read this article here and see if we can get anything else figured out. So this is an article from Answers in Genesis. Jacob's Odd Breeding Program of Genesis 30, the abstract. Chapters 30 and 31 of Genesis have often come under attack and touted as being an example of folklore, superstition, and primitive veterinary understanding. But when recognizing that divine providence was at work, coupled with astute botanical knowledge, the picture rapidly changes. Research into botanical, thank you, and herbal remedies over the past few decades have exonerated the methodologies which Jacob used with Laban's flocks. Indeed, some of the same botanical specimens Jacob utilized are now being used to supplement livestock feed and are used as veterinary treatments on several diseases and conditions.
I would like to talk to an actual, like a cattle breeding guy. Somebody who specializes in that. A farmer, if you would.
Yeah, I'm going to stick
their
with
opinion on
Miracle here, but we'll see. We'll see what this guy, I think this guy's going to claim it's not a miracle, but we'll see. Jess says, I don't think it's a miracle. I think it's supposed to be that Jacob has now learned how to spot deception and how to play Laban's game.
I see what you did there. Spot deception.
Yeah. So, okay. All right, let's see. Introduction. Genesis 37 through 31:16 is a section of scripture often held up to ridicule by skeptics, and even some of those committed to biblical inerrancy and authority struggle with understanding and explaining to others. So many questions have been raised. Does Jacob's peeled bark practice have any bearing on how sheep and goats breed? Does it offer any health or reproductive value? Did God instruct Jacob in this practice? Was it his intention? And if so, was it deceitful for Jacob to seek to appropriate the flocks of Laban, his father-in-law? Was this an entirely natural phenomena, or was there a large dose of providential direction involved? Jacob's flocks. Before we delve into this section, it is important to look at previous verses for context. Starting in Genesis 30:25, we see that Jacob is wanting to leave the services of Laban and return to his homeland, but recognizing that God has blessed him because of Jacob's presence, Laban asks Jacob to stay and continue to manage his flocks, and Laban promises to let Jacob name his wages. Jacob proposes a solution in which he would stay and tend Laban's flocks for what seems like a paltry fee, and one which is impossible to cheat on. So it reads what we just read. I'm going to just say that we've already read that. A bad bargain. It is evident from the text that Laban's reaction that this proposal appeared to be lopsided in favor of Laban. It is evident from the text and Laban's reaction that this proposal appeared to be lopsided in favor of Laban. Most likely, the majority of Laban's flocks were pure white sheep and pure white or black goats, with very few spotted, speckled, or striped animals. Since the majority of Laban's flocks had solid coat colors, he figured that his flocks would continue to breed true to their solid coat colors. Solid color coats. After removing Jacob's small flock, which he had his sons keep from Jacob, he believed they could not therefore influence his own remaining flocks by breeding with them. To Laban, it looked like Jacob would leave with at best a few mottled, striped, and streaked sheep and maybe goats, while he would continue to gain flocks and pay extremely cheap labor rates for their care. Okay, so I think you're right, Cody. If I remember correctly, he mostly had solid colors, didn't think there were going to be very many, abnormal, traits. So basically what we're looking at is an instance where Jacob somehow gets let's say for sake of argument, even though this wouldn't technically be right, let's say for the sake of argument, he somehow through diet or something gets them to manifest the recessive traits in the animals, so he gets a larger flock. That seems to be what's going on. Okay. So misplaced biblical criticism, and site-based hocus pocus. Now, we initially read this passage, we come across Jacob deciding on a rather peculiar methodology for what appears to be selective breeding of sheep and goats. This section, Genesis 30, 37 through 43, is the one which is most heavily criticized as being superstitious folklore and snake oil medicine, proving that the Bible is full of fairy tales and that the writer, Moses, was ignorant of any real medical knowledge. The charge is made that these goat herders in Canaan obviously knew nothing about genetics and so believed in an almost Lamarckian prenatal influence or even fertility magic. However, when one closely follows the Genesis 30, 37 through 43 passage, it becomes apparent that a site-based breeding trick is not what Jacob had in mind or attempted. Now, let's read the passage in question. Okay, so I'm actually going to go ahead and read it really quick, but we're going to read it from where we were at. Hang on here. So this starts at 37. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to actually start at 35. And he removed that day the he-goats that were ring-straked and spotted, and all the she-goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and gave them into the hands of his sons. And he set 3 days' journey betwixt himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. And Jacob took him rods of green poplar, and of the hazed and chestnut trees, and piled white strakes in them, and made the white appear, which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had pillowed before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs, when the flocks came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought forth cattle, ring-straked, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob did separate the lambs, and set the faces of the flocks toward the ring-straked, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. And he put his own flock by themselves, and he put them not unto Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whosoever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in. So the feeble were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. And the man increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and maid servants, and men servants, and camels, and asses. So he basically did something to trick Laban out of his flock.
I think I get it.
I think so.
I would like to know what tree he used.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. One of them was chestnut, wasn't it? Did I get that? I don't know.
Yeah, you did say that.
All right, let's see if Genesis or Answers in Genesis can explain this, because I don't know how this is supposed to work. Okay, so most people tend to focus on verses 40 and 41, which use the phrases which are translated as "set the faces of the flocks toward and before the eyes of the flock," and conclude that Jacob's breeding program relied on getting the flocks to look at the peeled branches, sticks. But they miss the importance of verse 38, which states that Jacob put the peeled sticks in the watering trough, and that the flocks bred right near these troughs. In fact, what is probably being alluded to is the fact that as the females drank water from the troughs, the males would come up behind them to mate. The lambs were likely placed in front of the watering troughs to keep the female animals focused in front of them, while the males came up from behind and bred with them. Now, the issue which then arises is that since Laban took all the striped, speckled, and mottled animals out of the flock, how could the pure color-coded flock start producing nothing but spotted and striped animals? This is where providential direction, medicinal herbs, and actual genetics comes into play. Jacob's knowledge and methodology. First of all, we must remember that the original spotted striped animals did not come about in a vacuum. There obviously was the genetic information for at least some of the animals to have spotted striped coats. Taking the text at face value, it appeared to be a recessive trait compared to the number of pure color-coded flocks which dominated the flocks. If things were to work out the way they did, Jacob needed to have those animals with the genetic traits for stripes, spots, and mottling to outbreed the single-colored coded flocks. This would require three things: intricate knowledge of the animal's feeding and mating behaviors, medicine to keep such animals healthier, and an understanding of which animals had the genetic traits he needed to produce. We'll tackle the medicinal herbs later, but for now, let's consider the genetics. Fortunately for Jacob, he did not need to know anything about genetics. All he had to do was obey God. We find out later in the extended narrative that Jacob benefited due to visions from God. The whole context can be found in Genesis 31, 7 through 18, but the basics can be found in Genesis 31, 10 through 12. When the flocks were breeding, I saw in a dream that the streaked, spotted, and speckled males were mating with the females. In that dream, the angel of God said to me, Jacob, and I said, here I am. And he said, look up and see, all the males that were mating with the flocks are streaked, spotted, and speckled, for I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. So Jacob was given advanced knowledge of which animals would be born due to which animals were breeding. But wait, how could there be any spotted striped animals to breed when they had already been removed by Laban? We need to keep in mind that this was a vision that the striped, spotted animals were most likely God showing Jacob the underlying genetic makeup of some of the flock. All Jacob did to perhaps help God's providential breeding program was to ensure that either he gave certain animals herbal medicines to make them healthier, and or whatever animals seemed physically stronger were given the herbal remedies and extra feed. Yes, the sticks could be consumed as feed by the animals at breeding season, and apparently solid animals, but which still contained the genetic information for stripes and spots providentially produced by more spotted ones. Okay, I think we get the idea. Yeah, so if you want to read the rest of this, let's look up and see who wrote this. This is by Troy Lacey. This was written in April 26, 2019. Jacob's Odd Breeding Program of Genesis 30 is the name of the article. The website is Answers in Genesis. I think that's interesting. So basically, God showed him which animals would manifest the recessive traits. And he put the sticks in there because I guess that would keep the animals focused or whatever while the males bred. That seems to be the idea. It sounds like a miracle either way, though, honestly. So... all right. Any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we move on?
No, sir.
No, sir. All right. Trevor, what about you?
I think we're good.
All right. Okay, well, that is all we've got for part one. If you are watching this after the fact, thank you if you're on the live stream, stay with us. We've got 3 or 4 segments left. I lost count. If you are watching this after the fact, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Later.
On to part 2. So.
Hey, so my headphone just told me its battery's almost dead. So I'm going to let that charge. I'm going to hop off. And if I get charged and everything, I'll jump back on here in a bit.
All right. Sounds good, man.
All right, bro.
All right. Pieces.
See you guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Let's see if I can get this to work. There we go. Well, Trevor, I hate OBS. Have I told you how much I hate OBS? Maybe I just don't know how to work it. Anyway.
Yeah, we're having all sorts of problems, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. That's all right, though. Okay, so let me, let's see. So that's the first one. So what was the next one we were going to deal with here? Genesis X. I believe we're going to do SSRIs next.
Okay.
Still there, sir?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, so do you want to lead us in, or would you like me to lead us in?
You go ahead.
All right. Welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Triad Podcast, where we try not to mess the podcast up. So, all right, what we're doing next is we got an update from Michaela Peterson about Jordan Peterson. So we wanted to, something interesting happened during this update, because for those who don't know, Jordan Peterson has been very sick, and he's been sick for a long time. Everybody's been hoping he'd get well. It seems now that some time has went on, they actually know what's wrong with him, and Michaela Peterson explains that in this video, so I thought we would react. To what she had to say and talk about SSRIs again, because we have discussed this before. Yes, for those who don't remember, I would recommend this book and going back and watching our reaction to the interview if you don't want to read the book. But we actually watched Tucker Carlson before I got all mad at him. We watched Tucker Carlson interview Laura Delano and talking about SSRIs and Unshrunk. So she goes into more detail about the damage SSRIs actually do to people. And Michaela Peterson is basically affirming that because apparently Jordan Peterson is having some residual issues because of the SSRIs he was on earlier in life. So let's take a look at this.
Hey guys, this is a video update on Dad's health, as well as a much longer portion of information about what he's suffering from, what a lot of people are suffering from, unfortunately, and what my experience with these issues was. These updates are not fun for me. They're really stressful, and I would have updated you guys sooner, but he's still been really sick, and he got worse over the last few months, and I'm 25 weeks pregnant, and I wasn't able to record anything without weeping the whole time until this week, apparently. And it stresses out my whole family to talk about it online. And there's
Kalix says, big harma. I agree.
No point in adding stress to an already stressful situation, except that because we're public, Dad in particular, it's also stressful not talking about it because then rumors get started. And then that's all people wonder about. So here goes. Dad's been suffering from an old neurological injury that's more recently been causing akathisia. Akathisia is the worst thing I've ever seen anyone go through. That sounds dramatic, but it's true. We talked about it in 2020 and 2021 when he experienced it after clonazepam injured him. And I'll explain why it's an injury in a bit. I had a very brief experience with akathisia with symptoms that were extremely horrifying, but not as severe as his when I went through antidepressant withdrawal from Lexapro. That was just over 10 years ago. And that experience, like the withdrawal period that was really severe, lasted 2.5 years for me, where I was nearly disabled. This was kind of before I had a public thing going on. That's when I just had a blog. I've linked a bunch of papers below about everything I'm going to talk about so that people watching can get scientific background information about what this is, because it's not talked about nearly enough for how catastrophic it is. In my opinion, psych med injuries and psych meds as a whole should be considered a national emergency, given 1 in 6 Americans, or possibly more depending on the stat, is on one of these medications, and long-term use appears to cause mitochondrial dysfunction that manifests as a neurological injury. I'll get into more of that in a bit too. Akathisia is a side
I mean, I agree. I think that the SSRIs they're one of the worst things plaguing the country right now. Like the fact that they've legalized those, and the more time goes on, it's like more evident they're doing a lot of damage. What are your thoughts, sir?
When you say SSRI, what does that include?
It's like antidepressants. Like I can give you a list really quick. I was gonna look up her research papers, so let me start off by doing that because I'm interested in her research papers. She said she linked them below, but they're obviously not linked on her...
On her X?
Yeah, on her X. So let me pull up her...
Probably on her YouTube.
Yeah, and then I'm going to try to see if I can pull up the research papers myself.
Yeah, because I've been on, like, levothyroxine, and I was on an antidepressant. I don't remember what it was called. But I went through a few of those issues myself when I got off of them. And yeah, the addiction. It's
Yeah.
very hard to get over. Very, very hard to get over.
Yeah, hang on here. I found one. I'm trying to get it up, but it won't. It's fighting me. All right, here we go.
Yeah, I have that problem too.
Yeah, so here's one of the research papers. It was on her YouTube channel, by the way. So this is the abstract. This is not the whole thing. I'll just read the abstract. That's kind of the thesis statement. So individuals living or working in moldy buildings, this is one of the topics she brings up, complain of a variety of health problems, including pain, fatigue, increased anxiety, depression, and cognitive deficits. The ability of mold to cause such symptoms is controversial since no published research has examined the effects of controlled mold exposure on brain function or proposed a plausible mechanism of action. Patients' symptoms following mold exposure are indistinguishable from those caused by innate immune inactivation following bacterial or viral exposure. We
Let me
tested
pause you there. Yeah, that lines up with me. Because you know where I was living with mom and dad
Yeah.
when my brother inherited the house.
Yeah.
He had a guy come over and do deep research, and they found black mold all in where my room was, the whole downstairs.
Really?
Yeah, there was black mold behind that huge picture in that living area.
Uh-huh.
And I'd been living in that for most of my life.
Wow. So you think that might have caused you some of your health problems?
That it lines up.
Yeah, it certainly does. She's pretty adamant about that, about the mold stuff. So if you want to look at some of these papers in more detail, they're actually on her YouTube channel. I just went to X this time around, but yeah, all the links for these research papers are in her description. So let's go back to here and continue.
Effect that's way more common than people know, usually caused by psychiatric medications, although other medications can sometimes cause it, and so can sudden cessation from those medications. That's a huge trigger.
Kalix says, mold is a serious thing, man. It's no joke. I agree.
No, it's not.
I believe
Yep.
it. I think it was Ted Nugent's wife was saying Ted Nugent or one of them in that family was having an issue as well with mold. That seems to be, I think she's the second person to have brought it up, but, I remember Ted Nugent, somebody from Ted Nugent's family bringing it up. Kalix also says, I'm growing mushrooms right now, and I thought I was doing everything right, but they got infected by trichoderma. I'm not sure I'm not sure what that is. I guess that's a type of mold. Let's look that up.
I'm not sure.
What is trichoderma? Okay, trichoderma is a genus of beneficial, fast-growing fungi found in soil or organic matter widely used in agriculture as a biocontrol agent. Really? It protects plants by colonizing roots, attacking pathogenic. So it's a fungi designed to attack other fungi. That's what it... Huh. Well, that sucks, man.
Crazy.
So, I wonder if people put that... Well, shouldn't go that far. Maybe people... It's all conspiracy, man. It's all CIA. Just getting too conspiratorial for my own good. But anyway. So, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, he says, LOL, right? So, all right, let's see here.
So suddenly stopping one of the medications that can also cause it. And sometimes people with Parkinson's can experience it too. It is intolerable discomfort that makes people want to crawl out of their skin. It's a neurological injury, really. A lot of people don't survive it, and there's no quick fix, although I'll go into how we've dealt with it before. Without videotaping me sobbing, And it seems like a bunch of my sadness this week has turned into anger, which is actually at least more enjoyable for me. But without posting a video of me sobbing, I don't know how to describe how bad it is in words, but I'm going to take a stab at it. You guys could look up videos of other people suffering with it if you want to. It's catastrophic. Before I get into it, let me be super clear. Dad has not been on a psych medication since January 2020. This recent flare-up of neurological symptoms wasn't due to new medications. That's partly why we had no idea what was going on for about 6 months. We went to specialists, obviously, and it was misdiagnosed repeatedly, which is super common. Then he got pneumonia and sepsis, and obviously that's a whole thing to recover from too, and dangerous, you know. This year's just been terrible. This recent flare-up that started last August was likely due to the stress of both of his parents, my grandparents, dying last year.
So she calls it a flare-up, and she says that this is basically something that happened as a result of pills he took, like, what's this point, 6 years ago?
Wow.
So it's like some sort of long-term brain damage thing caused by the SSRI that he was on.
Crazy.
Bad news, man. Bad news stuff, or bad stuff. So
That would explain why I've been having such a hard time the last few years.
those pills are bad, man. I don't know how else to say it. Like, they're no joke. Well, go on. I'm not sure how much of this we're gonna watch, but I wanted to juxtapose this with Joe Rogan and Trump. So we'll give this another couple minutes, and we'll move on to that.
Moving countries, selling his home, and mold exposures, which was enough to trigger a recurrence of neurological symptoms. Like what he experienced in 2020, 2021, something we obviously didn't think was possible after 5.5 years away from these psych medications. But I've talked to psychiatrists who say they have patients that experience this. This has been unbelievably hard on my family. Every day for the last year has been hell. I haven't been posting podcasts regularly online because until a few days ago, I've cried every single day. My brother is stressed out. My mom is stressed. I mean, it's impacting so many people. And of course, my dad, you know. Mom's, thank goodness, such a strong person. And thank God for faith. If it weren't for my dad and our love for him and the strength of our family and how we've been through so many health problems, you almost adapt. Now, you don't because it's too awful, but like, we have got good communication skills and we're closer, if anything, now. Otherwise, this would have just crushed us. I've certainly been walking around in a state of panic for almost a year now. Pregnancy hormones definitely don't help that. And then to make matters worse, I don't even want to mention this really because I don't want to give it any attention, but some journalist online reached out to me trying to pin Dad's symptoms on stem cell treatments, which is so dumb it's hard to fathom. And I responded, which was stupid. You should just never respond to a journalist. But I was like, hey, I really appreciate you looking into doctors, but like, that's not what's going on with Dad. I'm going to talk about what's going on with Dad. But it just isn't associated with stem cells. And
Gary,
he ignored me.
Yes.
I gotta take a break for a second. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, while he's taking a break, I will make this comment. I do think it's kind of interesting. Like, I don't know a whole lot about stem cells myself, but I do find it interesting that they are willing to blame that instead of blame the SSRIs, because Peterson has been very public about his struggles with those pills and how he believes they caused a lot of problems. So I do find it interesting that despite the fact that he has been public, he has the journalist wasn't asking about that. He's asking about stem cells or just some unrelated thing. So just food for thought. But anyway, so if you want to watch the rest of this, the same video is basically on YouTube. Let me pull it up. because I will probably end up looking at some of these research papers if we run out of time. So let me pull that up really quick. Got a lot more tabs open than usual tonight. So, yes, let me give you the title. So this is a Jordan Peterson health update, April 2026. Just released 5 hours ago. The title on the video is, April 26, JBP, update, psych med injury discussion. And if you're looking for the papers she cites in that video, they're all down here in the description. We clicked on this, the one that's marked number 1. So this by PMC and CBI, link right down there. So anyway, we might look at that later, but for the present, I just wanted to make that point about SSRIs, and then something else interested, because we've talked about, big pharma, as Calix has said, quite a bit in the past, and I just thought that it was really sad that Peterson was going through this, and at the same time that Jordan Peterson is going through this, you have this happening today as well. Joe Rogan and Donald Trump teaming up for something kind of unexpected. So we'll play this clip really quick.
I want to tell everybody how this happened. I sent President Trump some information.
Actually, before we do that, let me read the caption up here. Wow, Joe Rogan reveals President Trump immediately offered him FDA approval for a psychedelic treatment in a text chain because the data was so convincing and stunning. I want to tell everybody how this happened. I sent President some information. With 1 dose of ibogaine, more than 80% of people are free of that addiction. With 2 doses, it's more than 90%. I sent him that information. The text message came back, sounds great. Do you want FDA approval? Let's do it. It was literally that quick. For 56 years, we lived under those terrible conditions. We're free of that now. We're free. Yeah, okay. So that was his quote. I don't like the way he's framing this. He's framing this in a way I don't really like. Rogan's point behind saying this, in my opinion, was Trump was open-minded and available. He wasn't like saying, I gave him this special information or whatever. That's not Rogan's point. Rogan is basically saying Trump listened to him, and he was open-minded, and he was impressed with that. That's the vibe that I got from the video, but I'll let you guys watch it, and you can tell me what you think.
I want to tell everybody how this happened. I sent President Trump some information. We have a gigantic opiate problem in this country, obviously. In 2024, more than 80,000 people died of overdoses.
Hello, good sir. We're watching Joe Rogan's comments about Trump and this executive order they signed. So, just to fill you in.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a horrible number. And there's more than 5 million people that are addicted to opiates right now in this country. With 1 dose of ibogaine, more than 80% of people are free of that addiction. With 2 doses, it's more than 90%. I sent him that information. The text message came back, sounds great. Do you want FDA approval? Let's do it. It was literally that quick. These drugs are illegal not because they're harmful. They're illegal because of the 1970 Controlled Substances Act that was passed by the Richard Nixon administration. They did it to target the civil rights movement and the anti-war movement. It's not because these drugs harm people. And for 56 years, we've lived under those terrible conditions. We're free of that now. We're free of that now. Thanks to all these people that you see next to me, and thanks to President Trump.
Now, Trump had a response that was actually a little shorter than I thought it was supposed to be. So let's see here.
Story of my life.
Yeah, so just this is my bit. I had this joke and I forgot it, so I've already ruined it, but that's okay. So why in the world would they push SSRIs and ban psychedelics if psychedelics aren't as harmful? It's my favorite quote.
Whoa! I want that money!
I love that quote. It's a lame joke, but I love that quote. So there's that. Let's see. Benny Johnson had something on it too. He actually showed the video. Cody Bocephus. Man, that's a big deal. I agree. It is. It's a huge deal. Yeah, so let's see if we can find out a little bit more about it here. I didn't pull it up. Or did I? Let's go to Benny Johnson really quick, if I can just be a little faster.
Wait a minute! What did you just say? What? The legend killer from the Nationwide Arena in Columbus?
An amazing guy, and he wrote.
All right, so let's pick it up with what
Beautiful
Trump,
speech.
how
It's
Trump
like an
responded.
amazing speech from Joe Rogan saying that it was Trump. He just texted Trump. Trump said, let's do it.
It's a little bit more liberal than. That's okay. I have a lot of friends that are liberal, but Joe is an amazing guy, and he wrote me a little note about this, and I had it checked out. I didn't just do it. I had it checked out. I went to Bobby and Oz. I went to some of the people that work for you, real pros, and everybody came back with the same answer. You know, normally they'll come back, because this happens a lot. We have a couple of them like that, where they're not sure. It's like, you know, it goes two ways. This thing, everybody thought it was incredible. And I told...
What is this thing? Let's go ahead and look.
Okay.
Trump signed an executive order. Ibogaine is one of the new psychedelic drugs. This is what it looks like. It's like a root in Africa. What it looks like, and it's for treating opioid abuse. President Trump signing it. It's a root out of shrub root native to Central Africa is ibogaine. It is again meant to help with post-traumatic stress disorder and brain injuries. It's a
All right, let's look it up a little for ourselves a little bit. Before we do that, Cody says, man, that's a big deal. And then he adds, I wish it would have been legal when I had opioid issues. LOL. Yeah, I think
agree.
there's a lot of people wishing it had been legal sooner. So what did he call? Ibogaine? Here we go. Yeah, ibogaine.
Out of Africa.
Out of Africa. Let's see. Do we have any images? Yeah, so this is the picture Benny Johnson was pulling up. Hang on a minute. So I think it's that one there.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, so that was the picture he pulled right here. So we actually find something out about it. Okay, so it's a psychoactive alkaloid derived from the African Tabernath iboga shrub, used traditionally for spiritual purposes and currently under investigation for treating addiction and traumatic brain injury. So research indicates it can significantly reduce opioid withdrawal and cravings, as well as alleviate PTSD, which is what he already read. Induces a long-lasting 4 to 8 hour visionary stage, often described as a waking dream. So it basically gets you too high to care about the other thing that you were suffering from, I guess. Which, followed by a long introspective phase. Unlike many psychedelics, it is generally not considered recreational, with users often describing the experience as harrowing or intensely psychological. So I don't know if I would consider that a great idea. Let's look at this Stanford Medicine article really quick, just to kind of see here. So, psychoactive drug effectively treats traumatic brain injury in special ops military vets. For military veterans, many of the deepest wounds of war are invisible. Traumatic brain injuries resulting from head trauma or blast explosions are a leading cause of post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression, and suicide among veterans. Few treatments have been effective at diminishing the long-term effects of TBI, leaving many veterans feeling hopeless. Now, Stanford Medicine researchers have discovered that the plant-based psychoactive drug ibogaine, which when combined with magnesium, now that's interesting, to protect the heart, safely and effectively reduces PTSD, anxiety, and depression and improves functioning in veterans with TBI. In a study published July 24, 2025 in Nature Mental Health, Nolan Williams, an associate professor of psychiatry and behavioral sciences, and his team analyzed electroencephalography and MRI scans collected from a cohort of 30 veterans to uncover the neural mechanisms underlying the cognitive improvements. They found, for example, that veterans who improved in executive function after ibogaine treatment tended to show an increase in a type of brainwave known as theta rhythms. They also found that veterans with lowered PTSD symptoms after treatments tended to show a reduction in complexity of brain activity in the cortex. A reduction in complexity of brain activity in the cortex. The researchers speculate that stronger theta rhythms may encourage neuroplasticity and cognitive flexibility, while less complex cortical activity may lower the heightened stress response seen in PTSD. Brain activity patterns before treatment could also be used to identify patients who would benefit most from ibogaine therapy. Now, what is my point in bringing this up? My thing is, this, based on my own, I guess you would say, conservative-ish background, the old me from several years ago would have great misgivings about using this sort of thing. But is this really any more dangerous than using SSRIs? Obviously not. Yeah, obviously not. Yeah. Like, you're still... I mean, this might burn you out and make you slow, but I mean, Jordan Peterson apparently can't even function now because of the things. And so, what are these FDA guys even basing their, studies on? Like, why are we defaulting to them to tell us what drugs basically are and aren't okay? It seems like everything has a risk, and we're seeing that now.
Well, that's the thing about Western medicine is I believe how they do it is they get like 2,000 people that have kind of the same issue, and then they give half of them certain like antidotes, if you will.
Yeah.
And then they do the other half with what's it called? A placebo, a fake one.
Yeah, placebo effect.
One that doesn't have the medication in it, and then they see what happens.
Yeah.
So if somebody dies from their medication, oh well, this one person died, so we have to write like it's on their commercials. That's why the symptoms on the ads and commercials of their stuff are longer than...
You're talking about like all the potential things that could happen to you. The symptoms include death,
symptoms may
bloody
include,
eye sockets, spouting ears.
That part takes longer than the original like showing of the medication.
And it all goes really fast, so you can't hear it, right? So,
yeah. And everyone in the background looks all happy and go lucky, but they don't show the suffering of what's going on behind the scenes.
Right. So Calix says, right, Cody, I'm going to try to make a DIY laminar, haha. And then Cody responds, good deal. Vent hoods are a good idea too, if it's possible. So anyway, so that's that. I just wanted to point out like the absolute insanity of it. Like at the same day that we're learning that Peterson's still suffering from those SSRIs, they approve a psychedelic. Maybe the institutions aren't as trustworthy as we suppose. That's my whole point. It's all chaos. So, all right.
It's the CIA.
Yeah, it's the CIA. Well, it just makes you feel better. It's always the CIA. Always the CIA. Just for my own sanity, or my own amusement, because I am genuinely interested in this, and I kind of want to hear more about this. I'm going to read one more abstract about the mold subject, and then we're going to wrap this up. Because I've made my point. My point was it's darkly ironic, And I think it's a teachable moment that on the same day that we learned that Peterson's still suffering from that medication he got off 6 years ago, psychedelics are improved. These people don't know anything. And they just go, ha ha ha, oops. You know. That was my point. Trevor, do you have anything to add to that?
I do, actually. I've been listening to a doctor. His channel is Dr. K. And it's called Gaming with Dr. K, which he is a gamer, but he's more of a doctor. And he focuses on gamers. And he started in America, but then he switched over to he went to like the Middle East to learn Eastern medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about how different things are. And he decided to be like, he went through and got his doctor's stuff. And then he's like, you know what? I'm just going to get on YouTube and be a coach. I'm just going to coach people. And so while he does practice mental health stuff, like he's a practicing, what's it called? Where he helps people mentally.
Either a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist,
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. On his YouTube channel, he just does coaching. So he doesn't claim his doctor stuff on his YouTube channel because he doesn't want to lead anybody astray. He just talks about the differences of Eastern and Western medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And then he does try and help people.
Oh.
And it's amazing how much I have learned. And just from listening to him, he goes by Dr. K. I'm trying to remember his name. Let's see if my computer.
Dr. K, huh? All right. Well, yeah. Pull up his channel and then send me a link, and I'll show the audience who it is. Mr. Cody.
If it'll let me.
What's up, dude? I decided to just get on without a headphone. I don't know. My audio okay?
Yeah, you're good so far.
No echoes or anything?
Yeah, no echoes or anything. You're all right. So, cool. What is up, my good sir? Or do you have anything to add to this conversation about how the irony? I just wanted to focus on the irony. The fact that Peterson, we find out he's still struggling with the SSRIs, and then on the same day, they're legalizing the psychedelic.
What do you mean struggling with SSRIs? They're not addictive.
Well, he has brain damage. Like Michaela Peterson goes on to explain it later in the video, but he's basically going through like physical pain because he hasn't gotten over.
Shrunk?
I'm sorry?
Because his brain is shrunk? That's what those SSRIs do.
That might be it. I don't know. I just know that he's still like having physical symptoms. He can't really move around. He's very sick because of pills he hasn't taken for 6 years.
Yeah.
So he's got like this extreme brain damage, and yet these people will sit there and say, well, you can't take a psychedelic. That's really bad for you. That'll really hurt you. I'm like, well, you've got a guy who's basically bedridden.
Listen to people. Like, just do it if you want to.
I'm just marinating in the irony. I'm like, well, how much worse could it get? You're bedridden after you haven't taken something for 6 years. Meth doesn't even do that.
I'm kind of surprised that Peterson's never done psychedelics.
Well, he said, I'm assuming he hasn't. But either way, he says he hasn't taken anything. You know,
I don't think Ibogaine would be good for him.
I have no idea. I would. I'm not.
From
a doctor.
what I hear,
Ibogaine.
From what I hear, Ibogaine is like it's like specifically for like heroin addicts and pill heads.
Yeah, it's like heavy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's a really rough trip. It's like very introspective, like it will mess you up. But you'll always remember it and you won't go back.
What kind of messing up? Like existential crisis mess you up,
I've
or
heard-
like
I've
melting
heard
eyeballs
story-
in front of your eyes mess you up?
So the story that I heard, I'm not going to remember it correctly, and I'm a terrible storyteller. You know this. This dude, like he went to sleep. He woke up. He thought the trip was over, so he woke up, got on a plane. It was like 2 days of an experience that he thought was happening. Like he thought he was living his life, and then like I don't remember if he died or what, but then he woke up and he was like, oh like, right. So it's like you'll never forget it kind of thing.
That's crazy.
But it's like excruciating.
Well, I would imagine it has to be pretty intense, but again, I don't know if it could be worse than SSRIs. That's kind of my point. The institution's drugs.
I mean, I
Turns
don't
out
think it
they're
hurts
much
you at
better.
all.
I don't think they're that much better.
I don't think it hurts you.
Well, what was really interesting, though, is that in the article that we read, they mixed it with magnesium, and that seemed to make it safer. I don't know why that is. That's just...
Keep you hydrated? Or, I mean, most people are magnesium deficient anyway.
Yeah.
And so it's probably just good for your nervous system because it's a tax on your nervous system.
Yeah. Calix says Hamilton Pharmacopoeia. LOL.
Yes. Pharmacopoeia is awesome.
So, yeah. So just to humor myself, this was me being self-indulgent. I apologize. I wanted to read an abstract about this mold thing. Mold and mycotoxin exposure and brain disorders. So we'll read this abstract. The full article is found on a link in Michaela Peterson's description for her update for Jordan Peterson. We won't read the whole thing, just the abstract, and then we'll move on. So, gene-environmental interaction is an emerging hypothesis to explain the increased incidence of neurological disorders. In this context, the health and clinical effects of exposure to air pollution have received increasing attention. One of these pollutants is the growth of fungi and molds in the form of multicellular filaments known as hyphae. Hyphae. Fungi and molds not only grow in outdoor environments, but they also thrive indoors with excessive moisture, producing mycotoxins. Mold enters the body through the nose via the olfactory neurons, which directly communicate with the brain. Mycotoxins induce toxicological effects similar to those associated with brain disorders, such as oxidative stress and inflammation. One mold species can produce several different mycotoxins, and one mycotoxin can be produced by several different molds. Even a small amount of mold growth in the air conditioners and their ducts, or the panels inside the buildings, and even the cars cause the occupants to be chronically exposed to and constantly inhaling spores and mycotoxins, which cause illness. In this review, we focused on mold and mycotoxin exposure and brain disorders.
Wild, huh?
That sounds
it's almost like Alien was right in your face the whole time.
I know. Yeah, you're right. You're right. The truth is always right in front of us.
Indeed.
Okay. You guys have any final thoughts?
Nope.
The truth will set you free.
There you go. All right. Well, we're done to part 2. We'll be moving on to part 3. If you are on the live stream, stay with us. If you're watching this after the fact, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We need attention. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll talk to you later. Peace. On the part 3. So, Trevor, I think we're going to move on to the Shroud of Turin stuff. Or do you want to do the Shroud of Turin stuff, or do you want to do UFOs? Actually, wait, no. I'm wrong. This is a surprise. I want you guys to help me tear this poor social justice gal apart. My mistake. But I came across this article, and I'm like, it's 2023, and we're still having this conversation. But I felt...
What conversation is it?
It is a conversation with some gal who for whatever reason, she thinks that we Christians ought to be seeking social justice. And I thought,
Over
we're
what?
still having this talk? Social justice? I don't know. I don't even know what she means. I'm curious to see if she's going to try to redefine social justice and play word games with the terms or whatever, you know. So, but I just wanted to read this article really quick. So I guess I will introduce us really quick before I do that. So welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Triad Podcast, where we try not to mess the podcast up. And today, a Christian wants us all to be social justice warriors, or wants the church to embrace social justice, whatever that means.
I can't comment.
You can't comment?
I didn't study sociology.
You're not even close to right, but that's okay. You're going to learn today, buddy. So, all right. So, opinion. Why is social justice important? And apologies to the kid. She looks way younger than me, so I'm going to feel a little bad about ripping her apart, but I'm a little nervous. I don't want this getting in the church. So anyway, all right. So Calix says, LOL. Let's see. Opinion. Why is social justice important? Annie Sharples, who works for JPIT, or Peace and Justice, gives her own views on the importance of Christians working for social justice. Let's see.
For those of us who don't know, what is social justice?
What is social justice? Well, everybody's going to have a different definition. That's the whole problem with it. But if I were to guess, but I think she's going to have her own little definition for it. I'm curious. That's what I mean. So let's see how AI defines it first, because I'm sure AI is going to have a definition and then she's going to have a definition. Usually the way these articles work is they redefine it to get you all confused. What is the definition of social justice? And again, this is going to be some liberal definition, but let's see. Social justice is the fair and equitable distribution of resources, opportunities, and rights, ensuring all individuals, regardless of background, have the same ability to thrive. Well, that sounds just wonderful, except it's equity, not equality. You know, I think we've heard all this debate.
Yeah.
Had this debate before. So it's like, you know, if you're somebody who's part of an oppressed class, then you might get opportunities to go to college or get a job that, yeah, certain companies will reward minority groups, basically, because they've been deprived of opportunities in the past. Does that make sense, Trevor?
Yeah.
So,
that does make sense.
It's been happening forever. What do they used to call it? In the, the
affirmative
70s?
action. It's just rebranded. It's rebranded affirmative action.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So let's see what she says about this. So anyway, merit doesn't exist. There is no merit, only oppression. That's the bottom line. So Christians have been engaged in social justice. And of course, the way she uses it here automatically makes me think she's going to redefine it. Probably for as long as Christianity has existed. Christians follow the teaching and example of Jesus. And so much of Jesus' life was about seeking justice. When thinking about justice, yeah, he was about seeking justice.
Okay.
Social justice.
You think so?
So much of Jesus' life was about seeking justice. So yeah, there you got that quote there. When thinking about justice, the justice system might come to mind. The idea of something being fair and equal, or perhaps a famous campaign or campaigner. All of these things do relate to justice and are important, but to reach true justice and the justice that Jesus worked for throughout his whole life, these ideas have to go further. So, as Christians, we believe that God knows each of us by name and loves us regardless. So we're going to use love to justify this crap. So we believe that every human being is made in the image of God. and should be able to flourish and live in safety, freedom, and peace. For this to be true, we not only need to strive for justice in legal courts, but throughout our whole society. You can already smell it. It's like, yes, you have to get out of the way for justice. So, anyway.
No.
I just love reading these commie things. They just make me laugh. So, the Methodist Church offers 6 principles for justice in the 2023 Justice Seeking Church Report. Hey, guys, there's a Justice Seeking Church Report. Did you know that? The Methodists are on it. I'm almost curious to see what this is. Oh, okay. We'll stay focused though.
This kind of stuff infuriates me. I can't even look at it.
It reminds me of Joe. Remember we had that thing with Joe? It's like, what does cautiously optimistic mean? You know, it's the same kind of thing. It's like, what do you mean by justice? I don't think you mean just at all. So anyway, the 6 principles are very helpful when considering the Christian faith and justice, because they're exclusive. God made humans in the image of God, each worthy of equal value and dignity. All right, so we're all equal and we should go by merit, right? Nope, but anyway. Okay, God desires the flourishing of creation and human community within it.
Which only works with his order in place.
Right, yeah. God consistently shows a bias to people experiencing poverty and those who are excluded. No, that's not true at all. That's not even close. Abraham was rich. Solomon was rich. David was rich. God used money to bless people. It's a thing that happened. Like, you weren't bad. Like, the whole point of the gospel is that, like, if you're poor, that doesn't mean you're bad. Like, God might bless you with wealth. He's not necessarily going to. He doesn't have to. It's not like wealth is somehow a better blessing than like a good family or something. But it's one of the ways he might bless you. But he was never hostile to rich people. You know. So no, that, you're already wrong there, Methodists, or whoever you are. Yeah. So God entrusts those in power with a special responsibility for upholding justice. Nah.
I wish I need a soundboard.
Yeah, wrong. All right, so responsibility for holding justice. All right, God calls all people and nations actively to work for peace and justice, liberation and transformation.
You know what peace means? Keeping to your damn self. That's what peace means.
You gotta balance the scales, Cody.
You can't go around trying to fix everybody else's problems, take on their karma, and make more bad decisions. It's ridiculous. You just work on yourself, okay, people?
Yeah,
just work on yourself.
Peace cannot possibly mean work on yourself, Cody. Shush with that heresy. What are you talking about?
It's real simple.
Didn't he say, peace be still and know that I am God?
Yeah.
No, peace be still and give your job to the black man. Anyway, so.
Oh.
Sorry.
He went there.
All right, anyway, sorry. God entrusts those of power. Yeah, no. God calls all people and nations actively to work for peace and justice, liberation, and transformation. I don't trust any of these terms she's using. I instantly think you mean something else. Anyway, God calls us to live in hope and in ways that reflect God's character and the pattern of God's kingdom. God calls us to live in hope and in ways that reflect God's character and the pattern of God's kingdom. I don't even know what that means. I mean, that sounds good, but that sounds just ambiguous enough to be useless. Kind of just sounds like be a good person. Anyway, for many Christians, these 6 principles are the foundation to their justice seeking as well as their faith. They emphasize God's unending love, regardless of circumstance, and desire for justice lived out in Jesus. Jesus's manifesto, Jesus didn't simply treat people fairly or equally. He intentionally treated people with equity. There it is. There it is. He treated them with equity. So he was super nice to you if you had a hard time.
This is horrible. Gary, I don't know if I can do it anymore.
Persist. You have to suffer. You have to show your chagrin for the people. This is for the people. Anyway.
She said Jesus had equity.
Yeah, he treated other people with equity, right?
Yeah, whatever.
He was super nice to the prostitutes because they had a harder time of it in life. They were oppressed because of their daddy issues or something. So that's why he was super nice to them. Forget, mercy and the forgiveness of sin and hope of forgiveness of sin through God. No. He was just nice to them because, they had a hard time of it. So, and he was mad at the Pharisees not because they were hypocrites. He was mad at the Pharisees because they were rich. How dare they?
Gary.
I find it amazing. This is a Christian website. I'm like, we're seriously having this conversation on a Christian website.
This is intense. Is this mainstream, like...
Yes, this is Christianity.org for the UK. So this is like mainstream Christianity like in Britain or whatever. So this is commies trying to get into the church if they're not in there already. That's why I thought it was so interesting. This is communism trying to infect the church.
When you start doing a deep dive into like other denominations.
Well, I know the Methodists are about gone, but
don't be calm.
That's why I wanted to read it. I'm like, they're starting to, because I've never.
This is wild.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen them because I've seen this crap on like your PBS lowest common denominator publicity hour. You know what I mean? It's like television for stupid people. I've seen this crap there. But I haven't actually seen this kind of article on a Christian website before.
It's like these people don't actually read the book.
No, they don't.
They have no idea.
Like Jesus treated everybody exactly the same all the time. He was like he even told his own apostles, like, how long must I stay with you people? You guys are idiots. Like, he said that to his bros. Like,
yeah.
He talked to them like he talked to the Pharisees, like he talked to the homeless guy, like he talked to the guy with no legs, like he talked to anybody.
Yeah, he wasn't always nice. He was nice sometimes and mean at others.
He was consistent.
Yeah.
Like his father.
Yeah. And he was kind or mean based on his principles, not because of people's circumstances.
Yes.
But
when they needed to be corrected, he corrected them.
Right. And
it's just like when he went to the pool of what was that pool he went to where everybody was getting healed?
The pool of Bethsaida or something like that.
Bethsaida.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. No, but he didn't
healed
just help
one person out of how many people were there. It was packed.
Mm-hmm.
He picked one to heal.
Well, see,
Trevor, he was the only one that
actually
couldn't.
He picked that one because he was, a minority in Israel. He had a harder time than everybody else.
Gary, I'm gonna punch you through this phone right now.
Did that one have equity?
I don't know.
No.
I just know he was oppressed. He was an oppressed class, and he needed a leg up.
Hey, the money you make on your house has nothing to do with equality.
But it might get you healed by Jesus.
So crazy.
I can't stand these freaking people, man. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's see. We're going to define equity now. This means that he took individual circumstances, situations, and wider context into account when interacting with people. When Jesus went to the synagogue in Nazareth, he chose to read these words from Isaiah. The Spirit of God is upon me because God has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. God has sent me to proclaim release to the captives, and recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free and proclaim the year of God's favor. Yeah, he's talking about fulfilling the messianic vow. What does that have to do with your equity crap?
Why does it say chose the words of Isaiah, but that's in Luke?
Well, he's quoting Isaiah in that passage.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got confused.
No, he's announcing. This is one of the moments where he announces himself as the Messiah because he quotes those messianic prophecies in the synagogue. So that's what she's referring to. But no, she's wanting to tell you that it means that, because, because he's bringing good news to the poor, he's treating people differently because of their individual circumstances. You see that equivocation there? See?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like he's bringing good news to the poor. Therefore, he's going to treat the poor differently than the rich because of their individual circumstances. For equity.
No, she's just like misframing everything. It's terrible.
Yeah, this is a messianic prophecy. He's calling to Isaiah to tell people I'm the Messiah. This has nothing to do with like some stance regarding, how they're supposed to treat the poor versus the rich or whatever.
Crazy dude.
Anyway.
Well, maybe it's just the poor are actually more willing to listen to him than people that have everything.
Yeah, maybe they were more humble because, life had given them a harder time. Maybe
You don't know.
Yeah, well, it's certainly his behavior towards the poor does not mean that you need to deny people opportunities because other people had them before them or whatever. But anyway, so this is something called Jesus's Manifesto. I guarantee you the only people that call it his manifesto are communists. I promise you it's just communists that say that. Or mission statement. That sounds very corporate. But anyway, because this message is a main theme for the rest of his life, it is about showing the love of God to the poor. It's about him being the Messiah. Anyway, it's about showing the love of God to the poor and outcast in many ways, not just those lacking money. It's a messianic Oh my gosh. Okay. Now, Cody, I'm getting mad. But anyway, healing and freedom. He didn't simply promise good news to everyone. He specifically promised good news to the poor. That is not true.
What?
Yeah, right? For God so loved the world. You remember that John 3:16? Like the most quoted Bible verse ever.
Oh my golly!
So
Gee whiz.
His mission was just for the poor. Obviously.
Blessed are the poor and downtrodden.
Hey, lady, you do realize that the only reason he had a tomb was because a rich guy gave him a tomb. Yeah.
Joseph of Arimathea, right?
Yeah, I think that was right. Joseph of Arimathea. Yeah, rich people. He had poor and rich friends alike. Hey, you also want to know somebody else he healed? The centurion, the oppressor. The epitome of the oppressor, the leader of the oppressors, he healed that guy's servant because the dude asked him to for free. He could have said, since you're rich,
$5.
$5. I wouldn't ask anybody else that, but you're an oppressor, so
$20, little man.
$20
Put it in my hand.
Like, hey, no freebies for the rich guys. So
I gotta pay my bond later, dude.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so all right, let's see. He didn't simply promise good news to everyone. Yes, he did. Okay, all right, Musfaba. He specifically promised good news to the poor, those who are blighted by... Okay, all right, show me this. Blighted by injustice. Where's that in Isaiah? So we've already broadened it. So it's like no longer just good news to the poor specifically. They are now blighted by injustice and unable to live as God intends for us to live. So hang on a minute. Blighted by injustice and unable to live as God intends for us to live. Okay, you do realize that God sometimes asks us to be eaten by lions, right? Like, you know, I think we're supposed to live for God no matter what happens to us.
Man, I'm gonna be real honest here. The closer I get to God, that like the harder my life gets. So this is like hot garbage. This is hot garbage. I hate this.
Yep.
Right? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I love that. So, you know, what does that mean? Blighted by injustice.
It's a victim term. It's a victim.
Yeah.
It's like a victim rhetoric. I'm gonna call it that.
Yeah. Anybody and everybody could be blighted by injustice if you just use your imagination. So
yeah.
Imagination. You know, my wife was late making me dinner. I was blighted by injustice.
You were.
That was just horrible. It was horrible. I can't believe that happened.
You know, back in the 50s, you could slap them around for that.
Now it's illegal. See, I'm oppressed.
I know.
I'm oppressed. Oh my goodness.
Crazy.
As long as the stick wasn't longer than its thumb. Right?
I'm just kidding. I would never advocate for that.
Oh.
Too late. You're canceled. But anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Red room.
Let's see. Jesus ate, walked, sat, and lived alongside marginalized people. Truly listening and understanding the context in which they lived. They were marginalized. Oh, yeah, that Mary Magdalene, she was...
Yeah, how are they marginalized? She just reframes everything with a victim mentality. I can't.
I know.
I can't stand this.
It hurts.
Why do we keep reading this?
Because this is the church. They're making a play for the church, and we have to mock them.
This is like watching horror movies. That's why I don't do it. I haven't watched a horror movie in like 15 years.
Yeah.
That's horrific.
That's horrific.
It was with you, Trevor. It was Silent Hill. That's the last horror movie I watched.
Well, we gotta wade through the crap here. We're not gonna go through the whole thing because it's taking us way too long, but we are going to persist a little bit longer. So, one more paragraph. We'll do one more paragraph. All right. All right. Let's see here. The
one
phrase.
More. Yeah, that's how they get you. Just do one more.
Just do one more. Just one more.
And we'll be here all night.
All right.
My battery's dying on my headphone.
Okay, well, try to get it plugged in, and I guess we'll.
I'm just on my regular phone speaker.
Yeah, I'll mute for a second and see what happens.
Yeah. All right. All right. The phrase "nothing about us without us." What the heck? What was that? First Communist, 1312 or something? I don't know. All right, was first used by South African disability rights activists in the 1980s. Though originally used in the context of ableism and disability justice. There's a disability justice?
What?
Okay. It can be applied right across all marginalized groups and individuals. You know, I'm pretty sure that somebody in a wheelchair is going to look at a black man who can jump and be like, I don't think we're in equal marginalized groups at all. So who's more marginalized, the guy that can jump or the guy in the wheelchair? That's a silly question.
I don't even understand the question because I don't really understand the meaning of that word.
She's sitting here going, okay, so we've got ableism and disability. So she's using a stupid term here that's basically for disability rights. So, you know, somebody who is disabled would be somebody who's in a wheelchair, right? And she's saying this phrase can be applied to all marginalized groups. And I'm like, no, not being able to walk makes you severely more marginalized than your skin color. That's my point. So I'm pretty sure that the guy who can't walk would be a little resentful about, you know, his phrase for his group being used by another group. Does that make sense? That's my point.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. Why would you identify with the group? Just don't do that and you're fine.
I know, but that would be normal.
I
See,
don't think
that'd
it's
be
normal,
rational
actually.
thinking. Huh?
I don't think that is normal.
Well, it's the right
think it
thing
is.
to do. I think you're
I
right.
think it's normal to be part of a group.
I think you should consider yourself an individual. I think you should just worry about your relationship between you and the Almighty and don't ask questions about your group. I'm Scottish, but I hate golf. I will never like golf. So there you go. You'll never see me in a kilt. So there you go. Caleb says, can you repeat it, Trevor? I don't know what he said. Maybe when he gets his microphone back on. LOL. Anyway, so how many times do politicians make sweeping and generalized statements or about or change policies affecting marginalized groups without consulting individuals with lived experience of the issue? What does that have to do with Jesus?
That's a good point. That's a good point. But I don't think
Yeah.
they should even be voting on those issues. So
They might weaponize them. Who knows? All right. Let's see. We need our leaders and all people to really get... Oh, my goodness. We lost Trevor. Oh, he's back. Okay. Hey! You're back.
My computer's been running, so I switched back to this.
Sweet. It's good to see you. Calix wanted you to repeat something. I don't know what he was referring to.
Pete and repeat, sat on the wall. Pete fell off. Who was left?
Ah, there you go. This RSO got me. All right. Okay, we got to get through this last paragraph, guys. Just one more. Uno mas. Okay, we need our leaders and all people to really get alongside marginalized groups and people to understand the context of the situation rather than personal and detached statistics. Jesus is a prime example of someone who did this, and it is crucial in achieving equity.
I like equity.
Not equality, though. Okay, so there you go. That's that. Okay, so Calix says, I meant to say you. Rick Simpson oil. I'm lost.
who's Rick Simpson?
I like Rick Simpson.
Why does he have oil?
I'm confused. I don't
It doesn't matter. Okay, moral of the story, communists are bad. And they're getting into the church.
Wasn't we supposed to be talking about social justice?
Yeah. Newsflash, it's communism. It's just communism. It's always communism.
Wouldn't that be socialism?
Nope.
Because it's social.
That's
justice?
another word for communism. It's all communism.
I like candy. That's all I know.
There you go. All right, I think we're done. Listen, whatever your name is, Anna Sharples, you need to read your Bible some more, kiddo. All right, that's all we got for this segment. If you're on the any final thoughts, everybody?
What if she has a different version of the Bible?
You mean the Communist Manifesto?
I don't know what Bible she's reading from.
Is that like the third New Testament or something? So
it sounds like she got the DSM-3 as a Bible.
Yeah, there we go. This is Karl Marx. This is Marx 1 and 2. First Marx, second Marx.
Well, I mean, if you look on Bible Gateway, they have many different types of versions.
Yeah,
I'm just curious which one.
If you're gonna write an article like that, you better have a really good grasp on what the hell you're talking about, and she does not.
Yeah,
so.
you need to study some more. But anyway, Calix is telling Cody to look it up, so he goes, "Look it up, Cody." And then, what if she has ADHD?
Rick Simpson?
Huh?
I can't, because I might be able to. My screen might get messed up though.
Well, anyway,
mess it up.
She might have ADHD. I don't know. I'm just saying, you need to read your Bible a little closer. Go look at them old prophets. Yeah, that'll bring the idealism down a little bit. But anyway, so all right. I think that's all we got, guys. You any final thoughts on this poor deceived creature?
Good luck, Anna.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. It's supposedly a cancer cure.
Rick Simpson oil?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right, well, kids, communism is bad. If it comes to your church, run. That's not what Jesus would do at all. And by the way, there is this commandment called using the Lord's name in vain. It's not saying GD. It's doing what you just did, which is to take the name of Christ and the name of God and shoehorn a bunch of reactionary political commentary and use God while using God as your defense. So, might not want to do that again. That's my opinion. So, anyway. All right, that's all we got, guys. Any final thoughts from you all? Nope. All right. Well, with that being said, if you're on the live stream, stay with us. We're going to go ahead and do one more segment. But if you are watching this after the fact, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
Be sure to like, share, subscribe. We're lonely. We need attention. So,
Indeed.
All right. So we got 2 segments left, guys. We got Shroud of Turin and we got aliens. What do you want to do, Trevor? Because we vacillated between these two.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I was trying to. I got so much going on.
Did you spill some more coffee?
No, I was trying to do a backup while on the phone, and I got it backed up, and it stayed on. So I was like, I'm gonna see if this will stay on. Let's try the Shroud of Turin thing.
Shroud of Turin. All right. So
sick.
All right. So we had Frank Turek, who interviewed. What's the man's name, Mr. Trevor?
Jeremiah J. Johnston.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna watch a little bit of his thing. Actually, before we do that, Trevor, will you lead us in?
Welcome to Faith Fiction and Folklore, or the Try It podcast, where we try our best not to F the podcast up by spilling coffee on our laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And tonight we're going to listen to Jeremiah J. Johnston talking about the Shroud of Turin. And apparently he has new evidence. He was on the Cross-Examined podcast with Frank Turek. And so I thought we'd jump ahead to where he starts talking about the evidence itself, which is about 29 minutes in.
29 minutes in. Okay. All right. So
if that's the video you got pulled up.
Yeah. Look at you. You've got timestamps coming all prepared. All right.
Well, that's the only one I had stamped. That's about where he started. And I figured we'd listen to just from there on and maybe pull up a article about talking about what the Shroud of Turin is.
Okay. Well, here we go. Let's see how it goes.
End of them, they have these 2 barbell lead balls on them. Now, some had bones and teeth, etc.
I will be right
but
back.
Definitely the ones that were practiced in the Syrian province of Jerusalem, which, by the way, I wish I had more time. The most brutal place to be crucified was in Judea that we have based on the history. I'm not doing some kind of Christian trance right now. We have so many victims of crucifixion, and it seems like Pontius Pilate was the most brutal based on the evidence. And so Jesus endures this flogging, as you can see on the images. And we know that there were 2 executioners who were whipping him one after the other. And the ends, each whip would leave 6 puncture marks because there's 3 rawhide cords with 2 barbell lead balls at the end of it, just ripping his flesh front and back. This was the flogging, but this wasn't enough. This is where, again, Pontius Pilate presents him and says, "Ecce homo, behold the man," and they say, "Crucify him." And when you think about it, Barabbas, and we're all Barabbas, he's the only one in history who literally Jesus took his place on the cross. Think about Barabbas for a minute. And there's that beautiful scene in The Passion of the Christ where they make eye contact, but we're all Barabbas because Jesus did it all to pay for our sin. And that's why I tell people now, and I want to say this right ahead of this, the shroud for me, I have 5 children and a wife. Every time I go to dinner now with my family, I'm charged automatic gratuity because we're a party of 7. It's annoying. So I always ask for an itemized receipt. And that's just my life, having children, and this many kiddos. The shroud is an itemized receipt, Frank, of how much Jesus loves us. When you look at all the accounting terms that are used in the Greek New Testament, we were bought, we were paid for, we were ransomed, we were redeemed. The last term that Jesus uses on the cross is a CPA term, tetelestai, in his native tongue, paid in full. And so when I look at the shroud, I see an itemized receipt of how much Jesus loves me.
An infinite God had to punish sin. Otherwise, he wouldn't be infinitely just, ladies and gentlemen. And so when you see the brutality of this crucifixion on God himself, you realize.
So Calix asks, what is this picture? This is a black and white negative of the Shroud of Turin. So
yeah, this is like his midsection. So from like the neck down.
Mm-hmm. Now,
this is showing the gashes and stuff from when he got whipped.
Yeah, okay, you're talking about in the back, yeah. I see
Yeah,
that
the
now.
back.
So yeah, they're doing photo negatives. Let me see if I can point this out. So they're talking about the lashes here. Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't think it's real. That's kind of the big controversy about the Shroud of Turin, is some people think that it's actually real, and then other people are like, no, it's just one among many of the fake artifacts that the Catholic Church did. Huh?
I've actually never heard anybody say that.
Say that the Shroud of Turin is real?
Fake.
Oh, like, a lot of people think it's fake.
Yeah,
Now,
it's about half and half, 50-50.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. So he asks, okay, Calix asks, they wrapped him in cloth. Well, it was like more like animal hide. You know, it's not just cloth, but...
Yeah, they tried to preserve him as much as they could.
Yeah, so basically, okay, so here's the controversy.
I thought he got linen.
Might have been linen. I'm not sure. Let me check.
No, that's pretty important. It needs to be...
let's check it. Let's check it. You're right.
Because
hang on.
Joseph of Arimathea paid for it all, didn't he?
Yeah.
He gave him his own tomb, and he had him embalmed properly and everything.
All right. Now, he wasn't embalmed properly. They were going to on the 3rd day, but they had to miss it because of the Sabbath. So.
That's right.
See here.
My bad.
So, Cody, you're right. It's woven. It was woven linen derived from the stems of the flax plant, arranged in a 3.1 herringbone twirl weave. So it measures approximately 14 feet by 3 feet, exhibiting characteristics of high-quality cloth. Now, that's the Shroud of Turin specifically. So, yeah, so it's flax. It's flax cloth. So, okay. I have got too many tabs up. Now, here's the whole controversy, just kind of in a nutshell about it, while I'm trying to figure out where I was at. Give me a minute here. This is very hard to do. I'm no good at multitasking. Here we go. So, here's the deal. Yeah, that's wild. Who knows? Yeah, nobody knows for sure. But for a long time, like in the later part of the church history, there started to be this like trend of all these like religious artifacts. Like people had fragments of the cross, people had the nails, you know, people had some apostles' feet. I mean, like the holy artifacts became like an industry, right? And so the debate is, okay, is this really the Shroud of Turin, like Christ's actual burial shroud, or is this just one more artifact from that era of the Catholic Church where they had produced a bunch of fake crap? So that's what people are arguing about. I will say this, regardless of whether or not it's real, do not buy into the idiots that use the carbon dating method to try to decide that, because carbon dating is a load of crap. It's unreliable, and the scientists who were using it, they clearly had a bias against the Catholic Church. There was no way that test was ever going to be fair, regardless of whether it's legitimate or not. So, now, again, I don't know if it's legitimate or not, and I really don't have a strong opinion about it. Do either of you guys really care? Because I kind of don't think
About
it
what?
is, but whether the Shroud of Turin's actually real.
I mean, I think it probably is, but I mean, it's like I don't really care about it. Like it's not something that's like, what are you gonna do with it?
Yeah.
You're gonna pray to it? You're gonna
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's just a historic artifact.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give some pros for it. One of the things that's a pro for it is that they can't figure out how the imprint of Christ is on there.
Really?
Yeah, it's not paint. They don't know how. They don't
Well,
know
his
how
body
that.
was full of light.
Yeah, well, that's what they say. Like it was like almost like an X-ray or something.
Yeah,
So they cannot figure out how the design got on there.
Plasma. It was like, I think it was like the first developed picture.
Yeah, he actually talks about how that would happen later on this podcast. I don't remember. I didn't timestamp that one.
Mm-hmm.
But
so
he does talk about that.
That's a big point in its favor. They don't know how that happened. They don't know how that image got on there. It's not painted. It's not anything like that. So that's pretty compelling. So there's that. Kalik says, very weird. I agree. So let us move on.
That there was no other way to remain just and justify sinners than this. This is why Paul said.
And there is an actual like Shroud of Turin website. You can look up all sorts of different stuff on it. It's called shroud.com.
Shroud.com. There you go.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of different kinds of information about the shroud on it.
So what'd you say, Trevor? Shroud.com?
Yeah, it's just shroud.com.
Here we go. Well, how about that? Hang on a minute, though. I gotta resize. I gotta resize my square. I can't. I have to constantly change this thing. Oh, OBS, I hate you. Okay, let's see. All right, hang on.
Is it OBSing again?
Yeah. Hang on. I'm trying to get the whole thing in there. This is the best I can do. All right, yeah, so here's the website. It's got all sorts of interesting little facts about the Shroud of Turin. Kalik says, I don't know. I guess it didn't happen that long ago if was preserved. Where and how was it found? How was it found? Do you know the backstory behind how they got it, Trevor?
I did when I listened to him talk about
It's
it.
like passed down through royal families, I think.
Yeah, let's see. I'm going to look that up.
As far as
That's
I know.
a fascinating question.
I'm sure Peter had it first. He started the church.
Let's see here. How was the Shroud of Turin, found? So this is the explanation by AI. The Shroud of Turin first appeared in historical records around 1355 in Liry, France. It was presented by French knight Geoffrey de Charny, though how he obtained it remains unknown. It was likely a forgery. No, shut up. You don't know. Like, I don't know either, but let's not kid ourselves on that. That's not an answer to the question. All right. It's just describing it. Let's see.
Yeah, in the video, they actually talk about where the shroud
Yeah, there has to be a tradition.
If you go to like 43, 44
Oh,
into the video,
you're wanting
they
me
actually
to
talk about where it's been.
Where it's been, like how they found it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly because it was last week when I listened to this.
All right, hang on. I have got so many tabs. All right, so 43 minutes.
Yeah, about 43.
All right, we'll start at 42. Oh my gosh, these OBS. I hate you. I hate you so much, OBS. You suck so much. All right, anyway. Okay, here we go.
I don't know if he's a Christian or not. He's did the Hitler Diaries. He's a CSI criminologist who spent 5 years of his life. We actually have photos in our touring. We tour with this Shroud experience across the country.
We have not talked about UFOs yet. We were debating about it. Would you like us to? Because we got a bunch of tabs pulled up on it, just in case.
A tab a bunch?
Mr. Calix. So, yeah, we got like 5 tabs on it or something. So
In the world now. He took 3M Scotch tape. Okay, I can't make this up. And he literally took all the pollens. We're here in Texas, you know, where God has a second home right now, where I'm recording, and we have pollen everywhere. Everybody's sneezing and coughing. Well, it turns out there's 58 pollen spores on the Shroud. Frank, 38 of the 58 only come from Jerusalem in springtime, in bloom during the Passover. The other 20 pollen spores follow, and we have a map of this. They follow the tracing of the Shroud throughout history.
We will do so then. Yes, we will talk about UFOs here in a little. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty convincing. Is all that true?
As far as I know, I have no
Odessa,
reason. I trust this guy more than I trust the AI.
Yeah.
So.
What's his name?
What'd you say?
Jeremiah J. Johnston. He's like one of the leading. He spent his entire life working on like looking at the Shroud and studying it and going to all the different places. He spent a long time on this stuff.
Okay.
Why does he have so many J's in his name, though?
I
want to know that.
You'd have to ask his mama.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, okay. So the spores. They
second
make
home
sure
right
I
now.
understand this correctly. They tracked the spores, and it's brought them to the Middle East. That means that it went to the Middle East. Did I get that right?
That's what he said.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Make sure we got that correct.
Recording, and we have pollen everywhere. Everybody's sneezing and coughing. Well, it turns out there's 58 pollen spores on the Shroud. Frank, 38 of the 58 only come from Jerusalem in springtime, in bloom during the Passover. The other 20 pollen spores follow, and we have a map of this. They follow the tracing of the Shroud throughout history, its provenance from Jerusalem to Odessa to Constantinople.
Let's go to that. Let's go to that image right now, since we're talking about it. This is how we know where the Shroud originated and where it
pollen tells us its provenance.
Here it is.
And I want to give credit to Constantinople and the Greek Orthodox Church that protected the Shroud from the Islamic Caliphate taking over the world at the time. So we have it going 33.
So the Greek Orthodox Church protected it for years. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That kind of flies in the face of the whole, it's one of those random artifacts theory. It's one of those fake artifacts theory. That's crazy.
No.
Interesting. How did the Catholics get it? I thought they would have I don't think they like each other very much.
I don't know. Maybe
absolutely. Arimathea keeps it. All 4 Gospels mention the Shroud. No one is going to lose this. And then Eusebius tells us about this face cloth, this Mandilion. I'm sorry to use this example, but it's the easiest one I know. I'm a massive. My one addiction in life, Frank, is the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm from Kansas City. Went to games my whole life with my grandpa and my mom, and the Chiefs.
As a former Kansas City Chief fan, that must be very hard for you. But anyway.
Weren't always the Chiefs. They were known actually as the Dallas Texans before they became the Chiefs. The Shroud is very similar. It's been known by different names. It's only been called the Shroud of Turin since the 1500s, 1578, I think, 16th century, when it goes from France to Turin, Italy, in a political move more than anything. And so it's been known throughout church history as the face cloth, the Mandilion, And when you look at this, I love I'm a visual learner, so I love this map. This is where all the pollen is from outside of Jerusalem. And it's like a Where's Waldo. It seems to trace where the shroud has been throughout church history in the last 2,000 years.
But most of it is from Jerusalem.
38 of the 58, and it only blooms in, let me be clear, springtime, March, April, Passover, Nisan 14. And that's what blew. I mean, Max Fry, I just summarized in 2 minutes 5 years of the man's investigation as a criminologist studying this.
So how could a forger do that?
They couldn't. And here's the other fascinating thing. And this is where I can start crying. So forgive me if I dad cry. But we don't just have that. We have travertine. We have, and I again write about this in my new book, The Jesus Discoveries. Jesus collapses on his way to Calvary. And again, we just read that so fast. Like, oh, he fell, he tripped. Simon of Cyrene carries his cross. No, Jesus' shoulders likely separated. And Frank, I don't know if you've heard this before, but we actually have this travertine. We have from the grottos of Jerusalem, this only from the grottos of Jerusalem, this limestone residue, and it's in 3 places on the shroud. It's in your feet. Obviously, he walked barefoot. It's in his knees. And then it's in the tip of his nose. So when Jesus collapses, I want you to see in your mind's eye our Savior literally face planted. And that same signature is in the shroud. So we don't just have the pollen. I want to be very clear. And I've worked on this with Scott Stripling, my archaeologist friend. We have the travertine signature only from limestone in Jerusalem on the shroud. How would you fake this?
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah. It's like trying to fake the archaeology of Jericho 1,000 years later.
Or the blood type. Let's kill someone, and we don't know blood types 700 years ago, but let's find someone randomly. We have a 6% chance in 100 of finding someone with type AB blood. Let's make sure we brutalize him in a way where he's alive enough to die on the cross, where we can at least get his blood where it has this level of ferritin. And it becomes crazy.
In fact, you have a probability.
That's very interesting. Thoughts?
It's pretty wild.
I feel kind of bad for being a little cynical about it.
Yeah, he's very, very convincing on making it convincing.
I don't like that he uses emotion to make it more convincing.
Well,
he's like, oh, I'm gonna cry just thinking about it. I'm gonna cry. Like,
he might have been sincere. I believed him more than some of the other people we've listened to. Well, because he was being stoic.
I don't know.
Maybe he didn't want to cry on camera. I don't know.
I think it's a tactic sometimes. Maybe I'm wrong, but.
So Calix asks, did God want... I think he means us. Did God want us to find this? I don't know.
It was on my For You page.
I don't know. Well, there you go. Possibly.
God ain't on the internet, bro.
Do what?
I don't think God's on the internet.
Such a cesspool. Okay. Did Jesus know this is going to happen, and would he want his Turin carried around? Well, I imagine if he were to allow that to be found, I would say it's probably because he knew there was going to be a bunch of obnoxious Christopher Hitchens, and this would be there just to confuse and annoy them. That's just my opinion. If it's real, it's probably been discovered just to give Richard Dawkins something to be scared of. So that's my thought. And I thought we'd scroll Twitter here for a minute. We got a few minutes before we got to wrap this segment up. So let's see. We got, holy smokes, Italian physicist Polio de Lazzaro spent 5 years trying to reproduce the body image seen on the shroud of Turin and couldn't. Using intense UV light, his team was able to create small areas of discoloration on linen, but recreating the full image proved impossible with modern technology. According to
plasma.
yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. Be speaking out of my depth.
Like a laser beam, like a really heavy laser beam might work.
Maybe.
It might just burn it though, because laser beam light is chaotic. It's scattered.
Yeah.
Like the sun. And so it would probably just burn it. Whereas
Burn right through it.
Jesus's light was the molecules were steady and organized instead of chaotic like a laser beam. You know what I'm saying?
Now, if they could have got it to work with a laser, what do you think the atheists would conclude? That there's a god, or that they had lasers in medieval Europe?
I don't know.
Which would hurt less. So
Yeah.
anyway, all right, let's see. According to the biblical scholar Jeremiah Johnston, so it's the same guy actually, De Lazaro estimated the process would require an extraordinary burst of energy. Paulo told me it would raise 34 billion watts of energy, traveling in 1/40th of a billionth of a second to change the chemical makeup of a fine linen shroud to leave that image. We don't have that power on Earth. There was a chemical charge to the shroud that if it had lasted longer than 1/40th of a billionth of a second, it would have been scorched. This is incredible. So this is what I was referring to. They couldn't recreate the image. This is, I guess, this is the actual image here. This is their attempt, maybe. So I don't even know if I'm getting that right. That's
maybe
probably
they just don't have
the
perfect
positive and the
light.
negative. Huh?
They don't have perfect light.
No, they don't.
Jesus is perfect light. You can't recreate that.
Very true. Very true. So Calix says, LOL, fair enough. So let's see. Is there anything else on here? I saw something kind of cool. Yeah, I thought that was kind of neat. I found that interesting. They did like a little AI depiction of him.
Yeah.
Probably not accurate at all, but it's interesting. So, yeah. I don't know what that guy's doing in this picture, in this thread, but okay.
That's an AI.
Is it Lil Wayne? Lil Wayne?
Lil Wayne. That must be the social justice Jesus that girl was writing about. So.
Yeah. Lil Wayne's actually super based. If you watch interviews with him,
oh yeah,
he's like a cool dude.
Well, there you go, guys. I think we're gonna wrap this one up. Any final thoughts?
No, sir.
Trevor?
When I first started listening to that podcast, I wasn't quite sure about the shroud, but after listening to Jeremiah, I was like, yeah, it's quite a possibility that it's real.
All right. Well, if you guys want to watch the rest of it, it is called New Evidence Revealed: What No One Ever Told You About the Shroud of Turin with Jeremiah J. Johnston. It is on Cross-Examined, Frank Turk's channel. And if you're interested, give it a listen. So, all right. That's all we got, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to cover aliens next. So if you're on the live stream, stay with us. If you are watching this after the fact, thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, give us attention. We'll see you next time.
Later.
All right. On to aliens. Last
Time
subject
for
of the
some
night.
aliens.
So I have been getting a little aggravated because for whatever reason, you know, I'm pretty open-minded about the alien stuff, but Stephen Greer gets on my nerves.
Oh, dude, he's so annoying.
I can't stand Greer. And he's getting more clout with this whole thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why? Of all the people, why? So, anyway. But I guess before we get into that, we should just start the show. So who wants to lead it in? Cody, how about you do one?
Welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Try-F podcast, where we do what, Gary? We try not to F the podcast stuff.
Right. Not to mess the podcast.
But we always do it somehow. We always
It's been rough tonight. It's been rough tonight. We've had cameras dying and coffee spilling on laptops.
Laptops committing suicide.
It's been dogs and cats living together. Total pandemonium.
Total
dogs and
pandemonium.
cats and
So-
cats.
Tonight
and
we're going
dogs.
to talk about aliens
That's right.
and Stephen Greer.
Yeah.
Last time I heard, no, I try to avoid hearing about Stephen Greer. I'm going to be honest. When I
Who's
see
Stephen
Stephen
Greer?
Greer's name, I scroll.
I'm the same way. I've never been a fan of him at all.
I heard him
think-
on Joe Rogan a long time ago, and I was like, this guy is an idiot.
See, we
He
agree.
got duped by the CIA, and he still believes it to this day. He's like an idiot.
Yes, you are absolutely right, because you know his definition of aliens and what they're about and stuff. It's identical to 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah,
it's
he
that
thinks
whole
they're
stupid
real, dude.
He thinks they're going to teach us enlightenment. They're going to help us become the Ubermensch or whatever.
Yeah.
The space baby. So.
The space baby.
Space baby.
I can be your Superman.
I can be your Superman. There we go.
I can be your Superman, baby.
Oh, Calix. Calix says,
Or
I've
whatever
never
they
heard
say.
of the guy. You're in for a treat. He is a ride. All right,
Oh
but
my
before we get into him, we're
The
gonna
dude plays with Legos still, no doubt.
Hey, what do you got? Legos are awesome, all right?
Yeah, but he's 50.
So?
Like, you can play with Legos with your kids, but when you're a 50-year-old, probably single man,
That's an
Oh.
you
unfortunate.
can't play with Legos.
That's an unfortunate
that
yet
is a little
hysterical image in my head now. Thank you for that. A 50-year-old buff guy going, "I'm ET with my aliens." That's just, it's precious. So thank you for that. All right, so here's what kicked the whole conversation off. So Trump, because again, this has nothing to do with Iran and nothing to do with the news and current events at all. Trump decided to drop a bombshell for the third or fourth time that he's going to release the UFO files. This is a thing that is going to happen. And as
Haven't we been hearing this for a while?
every time Hunter Biden snorts some crack or something bad happens, they cart out the aliens, and we talk about that for a while.
Oh, they
So-
try and like make us
Subvert.
think about something else besides
Yes.
what we
Yeah,
actually
it's
need
a
to be
distraction.
thinking about.
It's a distraction.
Distraction.
But it's
That's the word I'm looking
funny.
for.
So it's like, okay, we'll bite. So, all right. Let's see here.
Look, these are the best aliens we've ever had.
Best
Nobody's
aliens.
ever had aliens better than
They
this
said they
one.
like me. They really like me.
They really like me.
As he discussed what's happening on the UFO front at a Turning Point USA event.
As you remember, I recently directed the Secretary of War. How good is Pete Hegseth doing, by the way? To begin releasing government files relating to UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena. And I figured this was a good crowd because I know you people, you're really into that. I don't know if I am. So I'm pleased to report today, I thought I'd save it for this crowd, because you're a little bit out there, you know, a little bit, that this process is well underway, and we've found many very interesting documents, I must say, and the first releases will begin very, very soon, so you can go out and see if that phenomena is correct. You'll figure it out. Let me know. Let me know.
I hate this.
Oh, well,
It's
I'm
terrible.
an idiot anyway. Because fortunately...
I mean, just
didn't have
listening
the
to
right
this just
screen.
makes
I'm an
me-
idiot. You what?
Just
Say
just
that again.
listening to this makes me like,
Well, okay, listening to Trump talk about aliens, is that what's making you angry?
yes, it's just he's spewing bullshit, man.
It's a distraction. It's like, look over here, guys. It's
I
coming.
just-
It's on its way.
Like, I think I like recognize body language a little bit, and this guy's just completely lying, and I just
You know, I have
It's exhausting to watch
I have
it
to
for me.
agree with you. I have to agree with you because I myself, and there's nothing really specific to be blunt, but I over the last several months, pretty much since the Epstein thing, I've been sitting here going, the body language of this administration has completely changed. Like you can tell they're lying on stuff now, whereas they didn't always. I never caught them lying before. Maybe Epstein, that whole debacle just lifted the veil or whatever. But yeah, I agree with you. This is
It's just crap.
It is crap, but there's good guys and bad guys that believe it in a manner of speaking. Like, I don't think they actually have anything. But
you know what I have to say to that?
Convinced that they have stuff.
Be in the world, not of it. I don't care about this at all.
It's fun, though. It's fun, and we're gonna have fun talking.
But it's just exhausting for me, and I'm sorry. I'm being a negative Nancy.
Does stupid make you tired, Cody?
I think so.
Yeah, stupid makes you tired. Okay, that's all right. So here's the thing. There's been a couple of views about what these aliens actually are, because there's a lot of debate. So first of all, you have J.D. Vance, right? So we got a little bit of a story here. So J.D. Vance also talking to Benny Johnson. We've had Benny Johnson on here a lot tonight.
You know me. We saw aliens.
Pause. He says, I don't think they're really aliens. I think they're demons, which is what we've said multiple times on this show. It's demons. It's stuff like that. So J.D. Vance is of that opinion.
Mr. Shady Pants.
Mr. Shady Pants, yes.
You know me. We saw aliens.gov.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway, but that's a longer discussion.
Well, I can't let you go without a follow-up on that, because Barack Obama is on this podcast and he goes, yeah, aliens are real, but like, here's where they're not. And, you know,
I did not.
And so Obama says, yes, aliens are, he gets asked point blank, are aliens real? Says, oh, yeah. And then he goes, but they're not at Area 51. And
where are they?
Well, that's what he says. Okay. Right. That's a great question.
Trump
had to go save them, and he said he's going to declassify.
Okay.
So you think they're demons?
Well, look, I think that celestial beings who fly around, who do weird things to people, I think that the desire to describe everything celestial, everything as otherworldly, to describe it as aliens. I mean, every great world religion, including Christianity, the one that I believe in, has understood that there are weird things out there, and there are things that are very difficult to explain. And I naturally go, when I hear about sort of extra natural phenomenon, that's where I go to, is the Christian understanding that, you know, there's a lot of good out there, but there's also some evil out there. And I think that one of the devil's great tricks is to convince people he never existed.
You know me. We saw aliens.gov.
So there you go. That was J.D. Vance's opinion, which has been our opinion. It's a pretty standard opinion among Christian circles. But oh my goodness, Stephen Greer got all kinds of upset about this. Like, he was not a happy fella. He was like, no.
Aliens are real. I've seen them.
They're real.
Otherworldly creatures.
And they're going to save us. If we could just get over the nuclear weapons, they're going to save us.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That video was AI, by the way.
Well, I know it was AI, but it's still the quote from Vance. It's still the conversation. They didn't fake the conversation.
Wait, the Shady Pants video was fake?
The Shady Pants?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Slim Shady.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
J.D. Vance. That video was fake?
Well, it was like layered with AI or something so it wouldn't get flagged. I don't know. But that's the quote. Huh. I mean, that's like the news story. I can find a real news story and we can listen to the whole conversation again.
No, you're good.
No, it's
so,
fine.
I mean, we can verify if we've got to. But yeah, so if Vance says demons. Greer says, no, there are saviors. So anyway.
I won't name who it is, but there are a couple.
Huh?
I think the UFOs and UAPs are the CIA.
I agree. I think the craft or government, Lockheed Martin, CIA, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Don't forget NASA.
And NASA. And I think that the abductions are probably demonic, because it's like, okay, look, I understand aliens have technology or stuff, but when you're teleporting through a wall that's called astral projection, you're probably dealing with something more paranormal, or you're just hallucinating, one of the two. You're probably not dealing with tech.
Yeah.
It's just my opinion. But anyway, here's what Greer was gonna, he really wanted to go after Vance here, so here's a clip from him. I don't know if I can get it on the right spot, but we're gonna try.
The key people around the president in the intelligence community from his team that are compromised with blackmail files. And that is a huge problem. We know about it. We're trying to figure out how to resolve it. But this is another matter that has been handed over to federal law enforcement investigators. But it involves some of the real linchpins of gatekeepers to the president of the United States, this president.
Wow. So
And
what
we know-
spurred? I know you got your report to Trump last year. I confirmed it. Closure.
This is just his intro.
He said, beware of this group that's in control of it.
Right. And that group is a group that has continued on. Now, we know who they are. Some good news on this front. But, what you're seeing on the media and on the internet is a tip of the iceberg of what we're doing. So we have a special forces team that is working with me that are going around getting more of this evidence. We have 750 plus whistleblowers. We have over 100.
Oh my gosh, we lost Trevor again. Oh no.
Was he on his computer?
I don't know. He's going to have to pull the phone back up. Oh, my goodness. What a night. What a night. What a night. All right. Anyway, so that's Greer. I don't know where the advanced comment is, but let's see if we can find
50 black sites on a map.
Really something that
These have been turned over to the
views.
administration and some members of Congress, as well as to federal law enforcement. There are criminal investigations open. We're talking the largest RICO, racketeering influence corrupt organization in the world is behind the UFO secrecy. But
See, I don't buy that. I don't believe it for a second. Oh,
Yeah,
Trevor's
it's just-
back.
Sorry.
I don't know. I think everything that guy says is ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't buy the whole. Yeah, I don't buy the whole. We're seconds away from a coup or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I don't buy
it's
it
almost
either.
happening, guys. It's almost there, So let me see if I can find. There's got to be a better way to do this. I should have not just trusted the whole hour-long clip, but I guess I thought it was more towards the beginning. So let's see. Greer on Vance, aliens, demons. Let's see if I can just type in and find the quote or the video. Nope. Okay, so here's something that might be approximating it. He's warning against vague rogue actors.
With they or we, he said, we are going to. The big one would be this, what Werner von Braun warned about on his deathbed. He said, with they or we, he said, we are going to hoax an alien attack on the planet. It's all a lie, but it will trick and fool almost everyone. So we're trying to expose that. But see, if this festers much longer with that group that have the technologies I'm talking about.
Okay, so this is
in
a clip from
minute,
Michael
they could stage
Franzese.
this and it would fool. Well, it had. I mean, look at what they've been doing for decades, fooling everyone. Everyone's saying, "Oh, those are alien events," and our military guys chasing these objects thinks those are military, right?
Okay, so that's about a blue beam. That's not right. Okay. Anyway, you guys talk for a minute. Let me try to find this clip.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't look at alien stuff anymore.
Here we go. Here we go. Alrighty. Okay, dead air, dead air, dead air. All right, here we go.
Because if you don't understand this cosmology, you're not going to know what's what out there. You're not going to know whether it's a man-made UFO, an interstellar UFO, ET craft that's trans-dimensional, or if it's some other phenomenon that's from another dimension, which exists. All right. So there are things that are from other dimensions that can pop into this, and have an effect in this. This is like poltergeist, right? Or
Right.
other phenomenon, which I have observed as an emergency doctor quite up close and personally. But that's not the same as a trans-dimensional interstellar spacecraft with people on it. Now, anyone with a scintilla of education should know this. I hate to be blunt. And when I was at the Vatican with Pope John Paul's senior theologian, Monsignor Balducci, and he was actually a demonologist, which I didn't even know such a thing existed. I wasn't raised in that tradition. And he said very flat out, and it was very hilarious. He said, neither angels nor demons require flying saucers. He put his...
Now, see, that should tell you right there. Now, have you noticed, this is kind of why I think he's lying? Because, first of all, what did you get? Did you get an argument? No, you got tactics. You got rhetoric tactics. You got, come on, everybody everybody, if any amount of common sense would know. So you've got your, freaking peer pressure tactic. Then you've got, when I was talking to Pope John Paul, authority bias, right?
Yeah.
And then he straw mans what the actual position is. The angels and demons don't need flying saucers. Nobody says they did. That's not the position. The flying saucers are probably government. The actual, abductions are demons. That's the position. Why would an alien be, abducting people and then just dropping them off 37 times? It's something else. So
the CIA could be doing some weird stuff. MK Ultra stuff.
that's true. The CIA could be being pervy. That is their thing. So anyway, but yeah, the point is, he starts resorting, for me, when I start thinking somebody's lying, is whenever I start hearing rhetoric tactics like that. You've got peer pressure, authority bias, straw man.
Yep. 100%.
So I'm instantly going, you're full of it. Anyway, so Greer got up in a gander and went on this crusade. He had a quote with Alex Jones, and I guess this Raven Gal's another person. He said kind of the same thing, where he was adamant that they're not angels and demons. Now, this is important because if you know anything about this guy, then you'll know that he's big into, if you watch his disclosure videos, you'll know he's big into, communicating with the aliens. He's doing the yoga and all this weird crap, And so he insists that he is communicating with, these galactic beings or whatever.
Yeah, those are demons.
Yeah, it's those are demons, guy. Which is why he's getting upset, because that means he's talking to demons and he doesn't want to admit it. I mean, that's just, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's Stephen Greer. We might need to do a deep dive on him at some point, because I want to show. Let's see if I can find it. I don't like having the dead air, but I didn't pull the right stuff up this time around.
Yeah,
So let's see.
Anytime you try and talk to someone who has demons or is talking to them, and you try and call them out on it, they're gonna get upset. They manifest. It happens.
Yeah. So here we go. This is an AI overview. We'll look at this short and see if it actually demonstrates what I'm talking about. It's another guy talking about it, but maybe he'll play the clip. So Dr. Stephen Greer promotes CE-5, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, protocols which use...
That's a good show.
Right? Which use meditation, consciousness, and sometimes specialized yoga-like techniques to initiate contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. That's demons, guys. That's when somebody says interdimensional demon, that's what they're talking about. You are not talking to ET through yoga. You are not a walking antenna. That is not a thing. So, yes, that's demons, boys and girls. Anyway, so let's see what this guy has to say about it.
Is contacting aliens like prayer? A serious look at Dr. Stephen Greer's claims.
He can psychically contact aliens.
Dr. Stephen Greer.
Yes,
Dr.
Stephen Greer. Thank you.
But it's a form of meditation, right? It's the way
and prayer.
Exactly. It's how I'm not. Listen, I don't know him. I don't know him personally, but when I'm praying and meditating, isn't that the same thing? The way we communicate to angels or saints or to God? Is it similar?
Exactly. It looks similar to me. You're supposedly contacting these otherworldly entities only through your mind, and you're even bringing them to you through a psychic contact. How is that not angels to me? What is that other than spirituality?
Not the same thing, though. Simple. Not the same thing. Shut up. Let's see. We got Stephen Greer shares a personal story of ET contact. Well, this ought to be good. But first, let's hear about the brain fog killer after we mute it. Anyway, so while that's playing, I thought it was very interesting how defensive he got.
Actually viewed with consciousness almost at a celestial fine level. And people are just awakened into a state of amazing consciousness. That's happened many times. Another time up north of Phoenix, out near the National Forest,
We were gonna get
a
nailed
craft
with
came
copyright.
in. We were in meditation,
musical
and literally, I was looking just at the right point because I was told mentally.
All right, I've got to pause it for a second because yeah, we're gonna get like nailed because it's Gaia, and Gaia is very copyright happy.
Oh yeah, they don't like people.
They are the worst. Why? Probably because Stephen Greer talks about contacting demons and then calls them aliens. But anyway.
Look up to the behind me. So I actually had to look like this. At that instant, it looked like, the heavens had been rent asunder. It looked like there was a parting of space. And in that parting of space,
No,
this
stop
beautiful
right there.
blue-
That is sacrilege to me, because that's what happened when Jesus died.
Yeah.
He just committed like a crime. Like,
It's almost like it's anti-religious, right?
He's-
Like the
he's trying-
intention is
so-
being anti-religious without being.
so I think the gospel is somewhat written on our hearts in a way. Like that story of Jesus, and it's been redone. Like Superman is the story of Christ too. So like when people remake that story, it really it hits us hard. And so him saying that's like an evil tactic to me.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I think he's doing that on purpose for sure. I think it's a tact. Excuse me, it's a tactic. So, all right, let's see if we can play a little bit more. We are so pushing our luck, but we're gonna keep at it. I'm keeping an eye on the live stream.
I can go la 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 la.
Yeah,
all the way
that'll
through the
that'll
video.
work.
Just go home.
Let me see if I can CC it. If I CC it and mute it, maybe they won't nail my butt. Let's see here. I'll just read it out loud. So let's see. Space, and in that parting of space, a beautiful blue ship appeared, sufficed the entire team for just an instant. In this blue-white light, it lit up the entire desert. I mean, it was, and everyone saw it. This, of course, it was brilliant. And so, you can have everything from a full third. Okay, so he's explaining the kinds of encounters. All right, let's see. Let's skip ahead here. Okay, so let's see. The environment will be sitting out in a remote area, and the ET craft will be partially in this dimension. So much so that you can it can almost sound like it's an echo when you speak, like you're bouncing off the walls, but it's clear air. Yeah, and in one instance, I remember we were up in Joshua Tree in the center of the park, and it was about 38 degrees that night, and it was quite cold. And this energy field manifested around us. Manifested! Not demons, though, but it manifested.
He left a part out where they took a bunch of mushrooms first.
Right, you've got to, clear your mind.
SSRIs.
Or SSRIs, there we go. Yeah, SSRIs. Oh my gosh. So anyway,
or both.
So we're in a peyote circle and an alien shows up. Not demons, though.
Sounds more like they were smoking what they used to smoke back in.
Yeah, peyote or so, I don't know.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, an energy field manifested around us that was extraterrestrial, very subtle, and it had this echoey effect as we spoke, and we could see subtle energies, almost like celestial. Cody, you're right. They totally took shrooms. They're all sitting there going, I feel it, man. You can almost see this group sitting in a circle, and they all just start telling each other how much they're feeling it, and then they all kind of convince themselves.
The only difference is they have titles, and they're like scientists and shit.
Right.
And so they're like, bro, I'm serious. I saw this. This is real.
I'm an astrophysicist, man. I'm telling you.
Right.
I ain't tripping, man. I've got a degree that says I ain't tripping. So yeah, you're right. I think you're absolutely
it's
right.
ridiculous. It's absolutely preposterous.
You're right.
I have a doctorate.
Believe me, I have a doctorate. The shrooms aren't hitting me that bad. I can handle my mold.
Yeah.
The celestial level around the interest begins moving not quite 3D, and the temperature went up to 69 from 38, so it went up 38 in a short amount of time, and you could walk 20 yards outside of our circle. It was freezing. So it did a controlled environment. People were literally pulling off their jackets. There's so many ways that these happen. One of my favorite and sort of whimsical things was up on Blanca Peak in southern Colorado. And a member of our team, as we were doing the meditation, slightly asked the ETs if they could just use the Big Dipper, like for the stars at our dipper, and they're 3 in the handle, and just turn them off and on. It was kind of code. He was a mathematician and the computer guy. Sure enough, as soon as he saw those thoughts, he left his brain to the ETs. And are you out of your freaking mind, dude? Like,
yeah, this is insanity.
They turned off the stars just for us. Not demons, though. I ain't seeing crap. It ain't Casper. It's aliens. They shut off the stars. I'm not treating them like gods or anything. There is nothing weird here at all. It's totally fine.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, so I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but I just...
Yeah.
It's demons, guys. It's demons. The fact that he gets so freaking emotional should tell you it's demons, and he knows it.
Yeah.
The guy's sitting in a peyote circle talking about meditation, but it's not demons, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
It's aliens, man, I swear.
It's the aliens.
There's tall grays and purple 7s and whatever.
Purple triceratops and bubblegum.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just whatever.
Don't forget the lizard people.
Okay, so there is actually another guy on here that is a Christian, or at least not insane. And he was saying that he actually thinks they are, if I can find him, he actually thinks that they are real. So I wanted to leave off on his quote, or in the night on his quote, just to leave the believers in this stuff some hope.
Sat down with Congressman Tim Burchett for an extended interview on his recent briefing that he got, which he came out of with a sort of different perspective, and said, look, if the country were able to see and hear what he saw and what he heard, it would be a paradigm shift. You'll see in the interview here that we let him talk. I asked a question and he really just took it and would run with it. But it was a lot of good insight. A little bit of frustration about why there's not progress, more so than there already has been, but a lot of interesting insight from a guy who has now been in the rooms and on the front lines of disclosure. Here is that interview. Congressman, we have heard a lot about this briefing that you got. You've been talking a lot about it, not in detail of what you heard.
Sure.
But can you lay out, leaving that briefing, it seems like you were a bit of a changed man after that. Talk to me about what the feeling was after.
I will say he does look a little upset. He looks kind of upset, a little startled. Yes, no, maybe so.
What is this?
He don't want to talk about it.
This is Representative Tim Burchett. He was in the disclosure meetings that weren't allowed to the public. Because, normally when Hunter Biden or somebody smokes crack, they have a big public one. Well, this is one of the private ones. So, he looks a little startled.
Maybe he just doesn't want to be on camera.
He might be annoyed that there's a reporter in his office. That's true. He might just be like, what are you doing in my office? But who knows? Let's see what he has to say.
Briefings, and I guess, I get a lot of doubters and people make fun of me and members of Congress, which is kind of ironic because there's always the guy in the crowd that makes a joke about it after somebody else does, and they come up to me and they say, man, I need to tell you something, I'm in the military, or I saw something, or got a lot of people interested in this issue. But and I've had so many of these briefings now. I even had one since the one that you're describing. I had that was a member of our leadership arranged, which tells you the serious nature of this thing.
Yeah.
And, I just think people need to know what we've seen and what these pilots are seeing. And Luna, for instance, is we requested all those videos, and she is, gave kind of a deadline when she'd like to have them by.
He is moving very slow. There's probably a faster video. Let's just jump ahead a little bit and see if we can get to something specific.
Imagine if you could turn any idea.
No,
Ooh,
I will not
AI
imagine.
videos.
Yes, you can't make me.
There that we don't really have it anymore because they farmed it out to these corporations, and these corporations are not FOIA.
You could always
Freedom
tell
of
us,
Information Act is for the people back home. It's when I can say, hey, FBI, release this stuff. I want to see this stuff. And under FOIA, allegedly, they're supposed to release it. But say a Ford Motor Company had it, they wouldn't have to release it. And I feel like that's what's happened to a lot of it. And a lot of the stuff we've seen is that I think that we have is probably the people that are dissecting it or whatever they're doing with it probably don't realize exactly what it is or where it came from. They might have an idea.
Okay, so if you're jumping in the middle of that and getting confused, here's basically what he's saying. They got aircraft that nobody knows how they work. They move really, really fast. They're hiding it by giving the information to private companies, and those private companies, Lockheed Martin, Military Industrial Complex, whoever, they're building ships. That's the theory. So that's what I think he's saying. Do you guys have any thoughts?
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that.
I think it's all pretty ridiculous. I think we've had flying saucers since like the 30s. I don't know.
You're probably right. I mean, yeah.
I think this is all silly.
In all honesty, if it all is military, they're not gonna release anything to us.
Well,
they're gonna
they
keep
should.
it to themselves.
They should. We should at least have some idea. But anyway, I think we're pretty well done, guys. Unless you've got anything else you want to say.
No,
I think we probably
I was about to fall asleep listening to that guy talk so slow.
Yeah.
We'll do another deep dive on him next time. We really should have ended on the Stephen Greer thing, but yeah, he's a believer. That's the bottom line. He thinks there's something out there. It sounds like, based on the interview, though, it's more ship oriented. But yeah, my whole point with bringing up Greer is, just so you know, and this is really the takeaway. This is why I brought him up. Is the CIA has been preaching the same crap. That's what 2001: A Space Odyssey is about. I think that's why they helped Kubrick. I think this is something that the government is actually, this idea of aliens helping us, like, reach enlightenment, and we shouldn't have nuclear weapons, and war is bad, and sing peace and kumbaya and all this crap. The CIA was screaming that in the 60s, and Greer is screaming the same message.
Yep.
So what was the bottom line? I had to go do something. LOL. Bottom line is, this guy, Tim Burchett, believes in aliens. Stephen Greer has either been manipulated by the CIA or is part of the CIA or something, because what he is saying is exactly what the CIA was pushing in the 60s. That's what 2001: A Space Odyssey is about. Aliens turn the pilot into space baby at the end. So that's the bottom line. So yes. Well, yeah, you should go look at we were talking about Stephen Greer and why he got upset with J.D. Vance. Calix is saying I was gone for almost 30 minutes. So, yeah, we talked about Stephen Greer and why he got upset with J.D. Vance, and he clearly is. I think bottom line is, not only does he deny that they're demons, that aliens are demons, I think he knows it and just doesn't want to admit it. Or he's getting paid good money not to say it. But there's some emotion there and some rhetorical tactics there that kind of make me think he's being He's being intentional about his deception, let's say, or about his error. So anyway, don't trust Stephen Greer. I don't trust him. I kind of like Tim Burchett. Yeah. LOL, I haven't seen the space. Dude, you are not missing a thing. You want to watch a random 20-minute self-indulgent segment? He says, LOL, I haven't seen the Space Odyssey. You're not missing anything. Unless you like watching the space ballet scene where ships and people just walk around for 20 minutes and nothing happens. Terrible film. Kubrick is overrated. Awful movie. But anyway. But hey, you know, who needs to be good when you've got the CIA funding you? Anyhow. So, but you know, I'm a conspiracy theorist. That's just what I say.
You are.
Default.
You are. The CIA is only there to help.
It's my default answer. Yeah, they're only here to help, guys. They're your friends. Yeah. You should believe them all the time. So anyway, okay, we're going to call it a night. Yeah. So, Calix, thanks for sticking with us, man. We really appreciate you being here. Guys,
yes, thank you.
We really appreciate you sticking it out. Before we go, I just want to say on the podcast end, we got monetized. We're making progress. The show is growing. We have you to thank for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And with all that said, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Good night.
Bye.